DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching Norb Cam.
What's up, everybody? Here we are. It's another NorbCam Roundtable coming at you. Excited to get into this. Football season is deep into the offseason, yet it seems like every week there's some exciting news to talk about, and this week is no exception. I want to welcome all you guys, or thank you for being on the show here, watching. We've got a great one in store for you. A little bit, again, kind of a different configuration with the roundtable. Nonetheless, it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to bring them on in just a minute. But first, I just want to remind everybody, if you wouldn't mind, please hit that, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. That way you won't miss any videos in the future. And I also want to do a quick shout out to all the NORBFAM members, the MVPs, Nick LeBeau, Anthony D, Jesse Duckface, Ryker Rockstar, and the All Pros, Maria Maraj, Jason E, Casey Sportsnerd, Aidan, Pham, and BJ. So without further ado, let me bring on the roundtable right here. What's up, gentlemen? It's good to have all you guys back. Let's have you guys real quickly go around the horn, do a quick introduction of yourselves, tell everybody, what you got going, where they can find you, and, and then we'll jump into some of the topics that we have today. So first, on the top left, let's go to Calvin Domingo, a.k.a. Steezy A. Smith. How you doing, my friend? Oh, hold on a second. I think I might have a little issue with the sound. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Hold on. On the fly engineering fix up right here. Okay, hold on. We're going to get this. Fixing that and fixing that. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, let's do that again. I think we missed it. All right. All right, thank you for the super chat from Pull Up and Push Up Strong. I got a little computer female voice helping me announce those. So it says, Norb, the best, and I'm the biggest Seahawks fan. Well, I'm glad you're here, Pull Up, Push Up Strong. We're going to talk all about what we think is going to be shaping the landscape of the team. So sorry about that. I think my audio was a little bit off, so I want to make sure we didn't miss any of that. So Steezy A. Smith, go ahead and remind everybody again who you are and where they can find you, man.
Yes, sir. As you said, Norb, Calvin Domingo, a.k.a. Steezy A. Smith. You guys can find me on all socials at Steezy A. Smith. Just dropped a video a couple of days ago talking about Russell Wilson and his end game in Seattle. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check that out. Show me some love. Got a couple of baseball videos coming for y'all later this week. And there'll be a whole lot more coming out as well. So stay tuned at Steezy A. Smith if you don't already know.
All right, let's rotate to the right. We've got a special guest. He was here last time filling in for Seahawks Martin, one of the NORBFAM MVPs, also a huge staff member on the NORBCam Discord.
Yes.
So Nick LeBeau on the top right. Nick, tell them about yourselves and what's going on.
Yeah, first off, Norb, it's a pleasure to be here again for a second consecutive week. Thank you so much. Can't wait to have a fun discussion about football. As for me, my channel is Seattle Sports Talk. My name is Nick LeBeau. You can find me at Seattle Sports Talk, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and I would greatly appreciate it if you showed me some love.
Absolutely, guys. And show all these guys some love. Their links are in the description if you need to look it up and click on it. Let's keep it going. Let's go to DJ Squabo down in the bottom left corner, man. Tell them about where they can find you and what you got going.
Yeah, once again, pleasure to be on, Norb, and pleasure to talk Seahawks with you guys, especially now that the offseason is officially underway, and it's really sad to not have football on Sundays. So Wednesdays are the day that I look forward to the most now, more than ever. So I'm super grateful. I got a video coming up about what the Seahawks need to do in free agency, so definitely stay tuned to my channel at DJ Squabo for more information on that. DJ Squabo on Instagram and YouTube, but follow everyone else here first.
All right. And last but certainly not least, the coach of Coach's Corner, Coach Marsh. It's good to have you back. I know we kind of took a little bit of a break last week. We were supposed to do a show the other night, but I had some work things that came up. So we're going to do our Coach's Corner. Normally it's on a Tuesday. We're doing that tomorrow. But I'm glad to have you back here on the roundtable. You're looking good, and it's great to have you back, man. Tell everybody about your channel and what you got going on, too.
Well, I think we looked at it like it was kind of a bye week, right, last week. So it was nice to just take that week and, enhance some things, but it was also an opportunity to start my own channel, Coach for Life. But that's all I'm going to say about that, because it's so fun to listen to these guys introduce themselves and just how polished they are. Sometimes I feel like I don't deserve to be on this show. I should just sit back and watch them because they're just so fun to listen to and be a part of. So glad to be back on. Looking forward to the evening, but excited for everything that's taking place for you guys, and especially for you, Norb, because I know you've done some really cool stuff of late, including dropping last-second videos about Russ and other neat things like that. So glad to be here.
Yeah, no, it's always good. I look forward to this, especially now, like Noah Squabo said, without football, we just don't have that weekly injection of excitement and, that thing to look forward to every week. And now it's just like, we just cling on to every little bit of news. Like, oh, what? There's something about the Seahawks in the news? Oh, what happened? Whoa, Alex Collins. Oh, it's like we got excited about every little morsel. It's crazy. But that's kind of what we do in the off season. So we're going to get into that real quick. So I just wanted to, because feeling a little bit nostalgic and, just happy to have you guys on here. I just wanted to just talk a little bit about how I'm connected to you guys. I think it's amazing when I think about everything that's happened this past year plus, Coach Marsh with your channel, and then Steezy and Squabo's channels, and then Nick and them going. I mean, all this has happened really in the past year, right? A little bit over a year.
Oh,
maybe?
yeah.
Chef Jacket. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. See, this is new. I've been doing some of my own refinements over the last few weeks, and before I couldn't have, the guys couldn't hear anything that my end was hearing, and now the guys can hear it. It's great. Refining the audio, trying to make the experience better for everybody. So Chef Jack Attack, thank you for being here, man. Happy to see everyone. I know you make a lot of appearances on the coaches show, and you were dying to get on this one as well. You are going to get that chance, because I'm going to definitely bring people on in the NorbCore Discord to take your questions and bring you in on the conversation. So if you guys haven't yet, check out the Discord. The link is pinned at the top of the chat, so you can get in that way and just jump in and join the Stream Game Day Party channel, and I will bring you as many as I can of you in for the next few minutes as we do the show. So Sebastian says we can't hear it. I'm not sure what you're not hearing. I'm hoping you guys can hear all that stuff. Well, we'll find out. It's part of the process as we go through all these things and troubleshoot. But I just want to talk a little bit about just my connection to all you guys, because it has been just a wild time with when I think back at how I'm connected to all you guys and how everything has grown in this short amount of time. But I remember when I met Squabo, that was on one evening, two football seasons ago, although the second football season in high school hasn't really happened yet because they postponed it because of COVID. But in football season a year and a half ago, I was watching my daughter and I were at a game, and we were watching our Kent Ridge Chargers, or her high school team, play, and Squabo was up there doing the live broadcast. He kind of finds me and said, "Hey, Norb, why don't you come on up here?" And went up to the booth. And these guys were doing their thing. And next thing you know, he's like, "Hey, man, come down to the station sometime at Green River, and we'll do some collabs together, man." And it's like, and next thing you know, we're doing it. And then I walk in, I meet Calvin Domingo, Steezy A. Smith, and it's like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And then we're doing our shows on your channels and on the Green River station. And next thing you know, a few weeks later, you guys are appearing on mine, and then you guys got your own channels. And if I didn't go to that football game that night, I don't know if we'd be doing this right now. I mean, it kind of took that one evening where by chance you saw me and I walked over there and started talking to you. I mean, really, if that didn't happen, I don't know if we would be here right now. I mean, it kind of started with that. And then, so it's hard to know whether the twist of fate would have brought us together eventually, but that was the night that it all started. So, it's amazing how little coincidences like that.
No, you're exactly right. Like, it's even more than the fact that, like, if you hadn't gone to the game. If you had gone to the game and gone anywhere else but exactly where you went, I'm telling you guys, Norb walked, and I'm not even kidding you. I had just DM'd Norb a couple weeks ago, but he, like, superstarred me, like, brushed me off a little bit because he didn't know me at the time. And so I DM'd him about coming on the show, and then, by the grace of God, I'm calling the game in the booth at the high school, Camp Meridian. And right outside the booth, I don't know if you guys have been to Camp Meridian, but it is a big field. French Field is a big field. There's stadium. It's a huge stadium. The big rafters on both sides. But he walks into the one entrance right next to the booth. I see him through the window. I hit him on social media and I grab him, and then the rest is history. But just the fact that not only he shows up, but walks right next to the booth makes it perfect.
And, you know, just to the tie-in, Kent Meridian, that was my alma mater. I went to high school there. And French Field, where we met, that was our field where I played many junior high games, too. Our junior high, middle school, whatever you want to call it, junior high team played night games at French Field. I played a lot of games down at French Field. I had my graduation ceremony on French Field. I mean, so much about that place is like when I go back there, and it really doesn't look any different. It's pretty much the same. So it's weird to, 20, 30-something years later, aging myself, but the place really hasn't changed that much. So the fact that all this kind of originated from there is pretty amazing. And Nick LeBeau, we have not yet met in person.
Not yet.
All of our interactions have been virtually, digitally like this. I'm hoping someday that all the guys who have been on the roundtable will, and hopefully beyond, will be able to meet in person one day and have a drink or some snacks together. I'm looking forward to that day if it could ever happen. But it's cool how, in person things happen, and then digitally, virtually things happen. And, you're here doing your channel and everything. And it's amazing how we're able to do this without ever meeting in person. So it's pretty cool how this is all kind of grown in that regard. Nick LeBeau.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was telling Coach Marsh on the Zoom call a couple weeks ago, if it weren't for 2020 and just quarantine and boredom, I don't think I'd ever have started a YouTube channel. And then to think that just like in the summer, I was on the first ever fan panel, and then next thing I know, I have like a ring light and a mic. It's just crazy. And I'm on the NorbCam Roundtable with all these awesome guys. Yeah.
Well, and what opened my eyes really is guys like you and Rishi, Sky High Aviation, just a ton of these guys. What I realize is there are a lot of really smart guys out there who are young. A lot of these guys, and you may or may not know, or some of them are only 12, 13, 14, not even in high school yet. And that these guys are some of the smartest fans I know who know. You can just whip out a question about a statistic. They'll bang out, what's his yardage? Let me tell you. So don't let their age fool you. These guys are very intelligent, very smart, well-studied, and it's amazing how much you guys know, especially at this stage of your lives. It's just pretty freaking awesome. Chef Jack Attack, same thing. Discovering him from across the country doing his, and he's in the super chat one more time. Without COVID, I would not have a channel. So again, much like the Nick LeBeau story. So
yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Rain, all these guys in the chat going, me, what about me? What about me?
Yeah, totally.
Sam Dog, the infamous 253. There's another buddy of mine who I miss seeing down at the games. Always pumping up the team down the south corner of the end zone. So we all can't wait to get back down in there. It's going to be an awesome day when we can finally get back into the stadium again. But last but certainly not least, I have to bring up Coach Marsh. Coach Marsh, we've talked about it many times on his channel and here. We go back a long ways, back to the late 90s.
Yeah, he's cooking. Chef Jack Attack's cooking.
There it is. The computer's delayed reaction. But Coach Marsh, again, it was assistant coach at Eastside Catholic High School, and then we came on board to help as the video production team in charge of doing the highlights for the team. And it started out just shooting games, and next thing you know, because of Coach Marsh's love for cinema, we started amping up to something bigger, where we started doing music videos and comedy sketches and over the top Braveheart type stuff, and we had so much fun. It was more than just highlight videos. It was cinema. It was high school football cinema all mixed together. And in fact, we even rented a theater and showed it one time over on the east side at the Lincoln Square Cinemas.
Lincoln Square, yeah.
And
Lincoln
that
Square
was,
Theater.
and anytime you get to watch a video in a theater is like freaking awesome. So the fact that we had all those years together and then a long hiatus where we weren't connected, and then to have the reconnection back with you, not only to have you back as a friend, but also have you on the show as a guest, and now to see you launching your own channel and cross collaborations, I think is awesome. So it's an honor to have all of you on here and collaborating in this way about something we all love, which is sports, particularly the Seahawks. So just want to express my gratitude to all of you guys.
Yeah, great stuff, so man. And I got to say, you nailed it with regards to age kind of being irrelevant. I say it to my team of guys when I meet with them every once in a while for my channel. I'm like, guys, age is irrelevant to me from a standpoint of when we were growing up, Norb, we were looking at older people, right, and saying, hey, I want to be like them and aspire to be like them. And we still have that. We want younger people to look at us that way, which is why you have the NorbCam tree, as I call it. People you're going to have so many people doing YouTube stuff because of you. It's so awesome. But at the same time, like, to me, it's generation why not me? That's who these younger kids are, right? They're the ones that I'm following because they're the ones who can teach us. They're showing me how to do the Discord and all these other things. So this feels like I'm back coaching football again, just in a different realm. I get amped for game day, which is today, doing your show and everything else. So man, it's super exciting what these guys do and to be a part of it. And if you got to read that, they're going to see. Let's go. Man. It's like an ATM machine.
Chef Jack Attack. He says, I made chicken and potato hash tonight for dinner. So, he's always cooking up something good.
So I want to wrap up with just this last little piece on this opening is the fact that, I was on the East Coast and I was stuck for 72 consecutive days away from my family I was supposed to only go for 8 days, but it was right at the beginning of COVID when the first person had passed away up here is when I went down there, and my doctor, because of a massive sickness that I went through for a couple of years, said that you can't come home. And so I had to wait for the numbers to get down in the state of Washington before I drove cross country. But all the time down there, I'm watching YouTube, for the first time going, I think I could do something, but what can I do? What can I do? And you were the person who brought me out of the mindset of stop thinking about not doing football and do what you do best. Go, I'm not the best at it, but it's what I love. So you merged my passions. And I think that's what's so exciting for the Chef Jack Attacks and Steezy and Squabble and everybody else, man. You have this gift of bringing the best out of people. And I won't share the story other than I seem to be waking up to your face, not in my house, but on the TV every morning. And it's not just on YouTube. It's on local news. It's on everything else. So we'll share that on a different time. But, man, it's just awesome to watch you grow because you deserve it.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's get into the content here as Chef Jack Attack is banging out the super chats tonight. All right, so let's go with the topics at hand. So probably the latest breaking news we just came out this afternoon, and I had to change my thumbnail and my title because of it. Alex Collins re-signs with the Seahawks. It's so quick that this came out, and I kind of want to just, while it's still raw and fresh, and we really don't have all the details about it, other than that it sounds like from what Nick was saying earlier before the show started, is that it's a pretty minimum deal. I just want to get your sense, we've been talking about Chris Carson, has kind of been the topic of conversation. Does this change stuff? How significant does this signing feel with a guy who didn't really play that much on his return to the Seahawks, didn't get that many carries? But what's your feel in terms of his place? Because he's not really the one. When you talk about the running backs, we think about the guys we drafted. We talk about Rashad Penny. We talk about who we got last year. What's his name? Guy who can't pass block.
Carlos Hyde?
Dallas.
DJ Dallas. Carlos Hyde, I think, is a little bit better on that regard. But so where does this fit into things? Is it just sort of a minimal thing, or is this a bigger deal? Let's start with Steezy. What do you think about the Alex Collins signing, man?
I love it. I think he's a great insurance policy. I think he's a great depth addition. He does have 1 year of being a featured back, which was back in 2017 with the Baltimore Ravens. He was spectacular that year. I mean, I don't expect that version of him to return in Seattle, but I think this shows more indication that Chris Carson isn't going to come back. And so in the event that happens, at least we have a guy that knows the system, who's a bruiser. He fits what Seattle wants in their running backs. And, he's a great fit, I feel like, especially in the locker room as well. So I love the addition, or at least the re-signing, I mean.
Yeah, me too. Let me just throw out a couple numbers out here. So, Chris Carson was with the Seahawks originally back in 2016. Let's see, played in 11 games. He had a 4 yards per carry average. Then he went to Baltimore, and he just tore it up. I mean, he was started 12 games, played 15 games in 2017, 973 yards that year. And then in 2018, 411. He played in 10 games. But he always had a good yardage average. He had 4 yards, as I said, 4 yards per carry in 16, then 4.6, dropped to 3.6 in 18. Then was kind of not playing for 19. He came back to Seattle, where his average is actually, as much as it was minimal, he only played in 3 games and only had a handful of carries, but he was carrying a 4.3 yards per carry average, which is the second best average in all of his years. So, I think there could be more to be explored in this potential here. Coach Marsh, what do you think? Excited about it?
To me, it's a neutral play, right? It's just showing that we're about to be active in the game. That we have to make sure that we take care of something there in that position. That we're too heady strong, but it doesn't mean we won't eventually get rid of him, trade him, do something else. I think the fact he's been around for a handful of years, it just gives them an opportunity, to make sure that, again, we like to know that there's activity taking place. I don't think the Seahawks do anything based on what the fans are thinking, but just to say, hey, look, we're in the game. Snyder's active. We're talking football. So it's a neutral piece to me. I'm not excited about it, but at least it means we have somebody who's been in the system, like Steezy said. He's been around for 5 years since he was drafted, and he survived the 3 running backs that were drafted that year. To at least try to replace Marshawn and then take over for Rawls when he was healthy. So we'll see, but I think it's just kind of a whole hum thing.
The few times he did carry the ball, I believe it was against the 49ers. And he looked really good. Mm-hmm. I thought he ran really well. And, with his dreads bouncing around out of his helmet, he looked kind of Marshawn-ish during that game and the way he was fighting his way into the end zone.
He's a good safety net. He's a good safety net. There's no doubt about it. Is he our starter? I would hope not, but I think he's definitely a guy that can spell for time. So
yeah, he's still relatively young. He's only, how old is he? 26? Am I reading that right? Is he only 26 years old?
Yeah, probably. He's only 5th year in the league, so he's got to be.
So he's got a lot of mileage-wise. He's got a lot of mileage left when you think about it. So, how about you, Squabs? What's your thoughts on the sign of Alex Collins?
26.
2 words, and I'm pretty sure Steezy already said them. Insurance policy. This is a guy like both gentlemen before me have said, and I'm sure Nick's going to follow and say that he's there in case all the other guys get hurt, and he's there to get reps as a safety net in case everything else hits the fan. So, what was it? 18 carries last year for 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. Weren't they in the same game? And then just not too much of an impact is to be expected from Alex Collins. It's a minimum deal, but he is our safety policy. And in another offseason where COVID will not or should not hopefully be as prevalent as it was last offseason, but it will still be a thing. And the offseason will still be slightly different than your typical offseason because of it. Bringing in a guy that's been here before and knows the system could be more important than ever. And that's a trend that we might see later on when we talk about some free agents as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely insurance policy is a good way to put it. And the nice thing is it's not an expensive insurance policy. Unlike my insurance rates now that my daughter has her license, that insurance policy is going to go much higher. I haven't made the call yet, but I'm dreading to find out what those rates are going to be. But Alex Collins comes in at pretty cheap grades. She has the good grades.
She has the Norb Cam
grades. Yeah, maybe smarter than me. But yeah, she's doing very well. I appreciate that. That'll help. Every little bit helps. So still nonetheless, it is. So it was just this past weekend. My daughter passed her driver's test the first time. First time she did, she actually passed it. She had to take the written a couple times, but the driver's one she actually passed. First time, I was proud of her. And I thought, hey, this is good. So much was the pressure of just passing the test. So I think it was just that feeling of, she did it. And it wasn't until last night, I was driving around and I had to drop something off in the mall. And I was coming back to the parking lot and it just suddenly hit me. The thought of my daughter driving by herself. And I just had this, I started tripping. I just started going, oh my gosh, what? She's going to drive by herself? Because it's different when you're with her in the car, right? You can tell her, hey, watch out, move over here, check your blind spot, all that stuff. And then the thought of her just being completely on her own was a little bit scary. And then I started walking and by chance, I started seeing all these cars with dinged up bumpers, broken mirrors and stuff. I was like, oh no, I hope this isn't the future I see. But anyway, we'll see. We're going to ease into that slowly.
It's nerve-wracking, man. I've experienced it 5 times, and every single time it's nerve-wracking. And then my niece just started driving as well, Haley, and it's the same thing. And she's not even directly in the family, but she's part of the family. Oh man, it is definitely. It's more nerve-wracking than a 2-minute drive at the end of a Seahawks game. That's for sure.
Yeah,
waiting for them.
Oh man, the first day she goes on her maiden voyage by herself. I'm gonna have to make a video or something out of it, just because I know that I'll be like a nervous wreck when that day happens. Like checking my phone constantly. Please, no texts. Dad, help! I'm stuck in a ditch somewhere.
Why do I feel like you're gonna send like a drone that just follows her?
No, I'll do better than that.
You'll do some live show. And be
I'll do you one better than that. I'll just be in the other car. I'm just gonna follow her the whole time on my camera. All right, she's going down 240th. We're gonna follow her and see what happens here. I'll just be watching her every move. That wouldn't be like some kind of crazy dad thing.
And if you guys know Norb, then he'll create like a 2-minute cut-up video of it with like lightsabers. Darth Vader will come out into the road.
There'll be some TIE fighters flying in. Yeah, that's a good idea. YouTube gold right there. All right, Chef Jack Attack with another super chat. I'll let the computer talk about it. Well, Chef Jack Attack, you don't even have your permit yet, I don't think, because you're only like 12 years old, right? So hopefully you're not driving yet. But speaking about not driving, I know Nick LeBeau's too young to drive, although he might have gotten behind the wheel of Forza or Grand Theft Auto or something. He's probably pretty good in there. But Nick, back to our topic at hand here. Actually, real quick, have you ever driven? Have you ever been given the chance to just drive the vehicle, just messing around?
Be honest,
when I was like young on my dad's lap, but no.
When you were young?
I love when they say that, Squabs.
Back in the old days, when I was a little youngster, 2 years ago. It's funny because the scale of life, right? Because you're 12, right? Or was it 13?
13.
13. Okay, 13. Sorry, didn't I cut you? Say 1 year short. But you're like 13. So like every year, right, is such a, percentage of how long you've been alive. You take someone like Coach Marsh and I, you got to multiply that times a factor of 4 and stuff. And it's like, very different situation. 1 year is like, oh, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Oh, it's all the same.
Norb, he was driving half a lifetime ago.
yeah. When I was young means like half your life ago, which for us is just like, feels like last year. Anyway. All right, Nick, go back to the topic. The Alex Collins deal. Anything you want to add to your thoughts on this re-signing?
Yeah, no, I gotta agree with everything that was said. I like him. He's a good power back insurance policy, like the guys before me said. And I think what the Seahawks are doing by this move is preventing what happened last season, where we were down to like our practice squad running backs. And yeah, we got a good insurance policy for, I think what I heard, the minimum in the NFL. So that's pretty good. I know it's under $1 million, and yeah.
Well, $1 million. That's not, like I said, it's a pretty cheap insurance policy. So we're always gonna be happy about that. Chef Jack Attack, man, you're just blowing things up over here. He says, I remember doing that too. When I was a kid, my dad, we had a station wagon, right? And I don't know if you guys know what a station wagon is. I mean, I'm talking about, this became my first car, but I'm talking about a 1974 Chevrolet Chevelle station wagon, this ugly gold thing that had, the big engine in it. But so in the front, it had a bench. Every seat was a bench all the way across. You know what I mean? So there was no separate seat. It was like, there was the driver in the middle. I mean, it was all one smooth thing. So I could just sit in the middle and he'd just let me hold the wheel and drive along and stuff like that. I was a pretty good driver. I passed both my tests my first time around, by the way. Not bragging or anything, but yeah, no problem there. Okay. So, all right, let's move on. So I think we're all happy. No, minimal risk could be a good insurance policy, and who knows, he might surprise us and do something amazing. So, let's move on to. It was interesting. So I was doing a poll on my channel, and I threw this very question out there. I asked people, who would you rather take? Would you rather keep resign Shaquill, or would you take Richard Sherman, who's free agent, looking to find his next landing spot. And I was just surprised. I'm going to pull it up right here and just pull out what the poll revealed. So I put this up a couple days ago. I said, should the Seahawks bring back Richard Sherman? I guess I didn't really ask it. Should they not bring it, re-sign Shaquill? Although it's kind of obvious. I think the obvious question would be who would be that left cornerback. Out of 2,500 people who voted, 71% said yes, we should bring Richard Sherman back. 29% said no. 71%. 71% said we should bring back Richard Sherman. I was shocked. To be honest with you. Not that it was necessarily.
Can I give a shameless plug? Just a quick shameless plug, and then I want others to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is part of what we're going to be breaking down tomorrow. Is looking at those two, so you'll have a good chance to see. And it's a very fair evaluation. It's not me. I'm not going to come in and tell you, one way or the other. I'm just going to show a fair way to look at both players based on where they are right now. So there's my shameless plug. Now we can hear from other guys what they think about it.
Right. All right. So there we go. That's a plug for tomorrow's show, the Coach's Corner. We are going to go in depth, definitely on this matchup, which is what I threw that question out on there. 71% to 29% says we should bring back Richard Sherman. I want to find out from the poll. We haven't talked about this at all yet, so I'm really curious to see what the pulse is of the fellas here. Would they do the same thing? Let's work our way around the horn. Let's start with Steezy. Steezy, you agree with the poll?
If cap space wasn't a thing and we were just deciding between who would we rather have, Shaquill Griffin or Richard Sherman, in no world am I taking Richard Sherman at this point in his career over Shaquill Griffin. Shaquill Griffin, obviously, he's a much younger option. He's 26 years old. He hasn't even hit his prime. He's still ascending. He might be a bit inconsistent at times, but at this point in his career, Richard Sherman is past his prime. He even said it himself. He only has a couple years left in the NFL. He's clearly lost his step. He's a lot slower than he once was. And he might even have to think about converting to safety just because of his advanced age. And he's just not that fast anymore. And so that's in a world where salary cap space isn't a thing. But because we live in reality, or because reality is the way that it is, obviously I'd rather have Sherm from a cap space point of view, because Shaquill Griffin, I believe, is just going to be way too expensive to keep.
That's a great question.
All right, we will talk about it. Sorry to break up your flow in there. We'll get to that in a second from Alina. But sorry, continue on with that.
No, all good. And then with Sherm, I'm only really cool with bringing him on board if Russell Wilson's cool with it. Because remember, one of the reasons why we kind of gave Sherman the boot was because he wasn't necessarily for Russell Wilson. He was more against them, in that he kept reminding of what happened in the Super Bowl and how he was kind of the one to blame for throwing that interception. And so if Russ is unhappy right now, I don't know how he'd feel about Richard Sherman coming to town, especially if we're already bringing a guy like Golden Tate, as was discussed on last week's show. And so unless Russell Wilson kind of signs off on it, I'm really not looking forward to bringing Sherman. I'd love to have him back, but definitely not over Shaquill Griffin.
So Alina wanted to know, what does Crisosmo think about Sherman possibly going back to the Seahawks? No! I want him back in the Niners! Oh, he gives me nightmares! Come back! Okay, that's Crisosmo's take. All right, let's go around the horn. Coach Marsh, your thoughts? Without giving you a swing, I know you're going to break this down on the coach's corner, but look at the bird's eye view, since we're going to go into the minuscule nugget view tomorrow.
Yeah. No, it's very easy for me from a standpoint of I love to come at it from the psychological part of the game. I mean, tomorrow we'll look at some stats and we can look at those other things. But I think, Steezy said it again. I'm kind of following him on the last couple of things. When he says that he's got 2 years left, that speaks to a guy who's already thinking about the end. He's already getting ready to check out. It doesn't mean he wouldn't play hard. Obviously, he's a competitor and everything else. But when guys are already kind of scheduling their departure, I don't know if we want a guy like that. I mean, look how nervous we started to get, around here when as talks going on with regards to Russ, thinking that he wants to leave, right? So I don't know if we want that. And I don't know if he's in a position in his career, if he's the type of guy that wants to come and coach up younger guys. Certain guys love and relish that. I think a guy who doesn't want to be in the NFL after a couple of years, I don't know if he's a guy that wants to come in and, work with the younger guys and do all these things that we would need to have happen from him. So I would definitely want to keep Shaq, even though I know it's going to cost a lot, even though maybe we're going to franchise him. Who knows? But yeah, I think without a doubt, I want to be careful not to dive too much into it.
Right. Sometimes, it feels like anytime a former Seahawks name comes out in the availability, and it's from that year, those years of the LOB, that there's almost this desire like, well, if we just grab that person, he'll magically turn into the player he was like 6-7 years ago, and I think that's often the trap. Like when we heard Bruce Irvin was coming back, like, oh, it's going to be Bruce Irvin. Not that he could have had a good season. Obviously, his season was cut short, not because of a lack of productivity. He just got injured in a very unfortunate way. But there is something about that nostalgia of, bring back, people. I still see people. Kem Chancellor, bring him back as a coach. Bring it back somehow. Come back, Bam Bam. It's like your neck will magically heal. Just come back, But
Steezy said 2 words, and I've got 3 words. Steezy said 2. I got 3 words for anybody who's been a part of this area. Different sport, but he's probably number 1 on my Mount Rushmore of Washingtonian sports figures. Ken Griffey Jr. Right? Everybody wanted him back, and wanted to be part. And they knew he was near the end of his career and such. But then when he came back, it was definitely a big time struggle for one of the greatest icons we've ever seen. But because we go back to that special time, and he wasn't coming to make us a World Series champion or anything like that. But we float back to that nostalgia, that period of time when, we might want the 1981 Norb, running back to come back and play for us.
Hey, that 1981 Norb was pretty good. He was pretty fast around the edge. He could score a touchdown from the 1 yard line for the best of them. It's funny you bring up the Mariners. The Mariners are a whole other issue right now. With a lot of controversy going on based on the former president who had to resign. I don't think I'll even go into the Mariners in this discussion. But when you brought it up though, Ken Griffey Jr. when he did return, remember the return was, while it was not as not like everyone's expecting productivity. Remember the time when he finished that 1 year and they carried him off the field, and there was this glorious kind of, this is what a great way to end the season, having him back. And then it just kind of went south, because then I remember the manager and him had this ways, and he just ended up sort of leaving on another sour note. And it was unfortunate they couldn't have just stopped the movie right there. There are times when you just quit when you're ahead. They should have quit right there, and it would have been a much more happy ending to the reunion of Ken Griffey Jr. with the Mariners. Unfortunately, it soured a little bit too long. But it was another missed opportunity, just like the return of Marshawn Lynch. I hate to reminisce on years where things were so close to having should have been carried off into the sunset. He should have, that last regular season game of 2019, the carry him off on the regular season as the hero moment was right there for us. And doggone it, we messed that thing up.
Well, Nick LeBeau, were you? You were, again, you're half a lifetime ago. It was when the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl. Were you following the Seahawks back then?
Not really, no.
So you're still kind of close, but you knew who Richard Sherman was eventually.
Oh, yeah. Well, I knew who the player, it wasn't, I was following them, but it was like, I didn't get like the rules and stuff like that, but I'd watch them play.
Yeah. So I guess like where I would kind of lead with that is he a better fit personality wise to that group because he knew his role, right? The energy of Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor, like he was part of the group to where, he comes here now and it's Jamal Adams. You got good energy there. You got some other guys. I'd be curious with all you guys what you would think about, if he did come back, does he fit? Would he be too much of a personality when you got these younger guys who are coming up trying to make their mold? Or would they go, oh, man, we respect you so much, and then he wants to come back and make it the way it used to be? I'd be curious on your take on that, if that could impact things. Because he's a loud guy, right? He's a boisterous guy.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. That's actually what I was going to touch on. I think he definitely impacted, and I could almost see, like right now when I think of our secondary and our defense in general, I think of 2 guys like on the loud side, the hype up guys, and it's Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams. And then to have a Sherman kind of fit in there with Jamal and Bobby. And I know they did it before, but I just don't think it'd be the same. And Steezy, you talked about him and Russell Wilson kind of button heads. He was the one who was calling out Pete Carroll saying, oh, the guys don't believe in his thing anymore. His motivating.
His message is getting old.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think if it was anything, it'd be him and Pete Carroll that would butt heads rather than Russell Wilson. Because when I see Russell Wilson, I think that he can adapt and move on like with Golden Tate, because I guarantee you if we do sign Golden Tate, which is kind of unlikely. I don't know about that rumor because Tate is still on the Giants under contract. He'd have to get cut. But I think Russ would have to approve, and I think Russ would have approved for us to bring him in.
Well, I want to shout out to Alina Dahl, one of our fantastic moderators, who's always making sure people are behaving in there. She's the one who broke that news, leaked it out to us last week, and I said, "Hey, if it comes true that Golden Tate comes to the Seahawks, we broke this thing like a week ago before anybody was even talking about it. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm curious if Alina Dahl has an update on there."
Yeah, or is there any chance that he's not coming now because you broke the news? Like, I'm not going to Seattle because somebody quasi in the family leaked something out there, and then you went public with it to get credit for it. And we all love you, Alina, but maybe we lost out on him because you leaked the news. So,
Alina just responded in the chat. She says, "Yep, it's still true." So she's holding on to that. It's just a matter of time. This awesome. Is all behind the scenes, and we'll find out. Although Nick LeBeau says he's skeptical, but Alina says otherwise. So I guess we'll find out about that. But I think going back to your point, though, there is about that the locker room chemistry. From the outside, and again, we only know what it's like when we hear all the outside stuff. We don't know how intact the locker room is on the inside. Who knows? At this point, Sherman, Carroll, and Russ could be all buddies going having drinks together in the offseason and have no issues at all. But we don't really know. We only know what we remember from what the press has allowed us to see. And, of course, to us, it's a lot of drama. Let's go.
So I will tell you that it's not as fractionalized. Like, just as someone who, again, having the fun connection I have with Sherman Smith, obviously things get blown up way more than they are, and then things are sometimes not as mellow as they are. They're usually a lot more in between, as he likes to say, right? Like, don't let the highs get too high, the lows get too low. So when there's a blow up in the media, when they say Richard Sherman and Coach Carroll, behind closed doors, they're obviously working those things out. They see each other all the time, every day, everything else. We just get snippets of it and all those things. So, Richard Sherman's older, wiser, more mature. Pete Carroll's still wanting to run the football. So some guys change, some guys don't. But that's where, So I wouldn't let stuff that happens too long ago, other than maybe Earl Thomas. I think anybody could come back the way Pete Carroll runs his ship, and he'd make it the greatest thing ever for him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if the Golden Tate thing does happen, I mean, that's a pretty well-known rumor about Russell and that whole thing about what happened between potentially or allegedly between him and his ex-wife and Golden Tate and all that stuff. They can mend that, and it really happens. Well, then I think Pete Carroll could work almost any miracle out. But Squabble, I think
wasn't he the one that caught the pass that got Russ going, like against Green Bay? I think it was him. The Monday night game or Sunday night game, we threw it. I remember being there. I just don't remember Golden Tate was the one that caught the ball. It's kind of Russ's first big comeback win.
Oh, against Chicago?
Officials.
Are you talking about Chicago?
No, against Green Bay.
The Pham Mary?
Pham Mary?
The scrub officials game.
The Pham Mary. The Pham Mary, where Golden Tate actually pass interfered, shoved the guy in the back out of the way. But yeah, anyway, it's we'll see. Obviously, I'm excited to congratulate Alina and say you broke it. You had the inside scoop before anybody else did. And I'm waiting for that official confirmation, but we'll see soon enough. Squabble, we didn't get your take on the Shaquill Griffin Sherman debate, did we?
No. And
let's get your take.
Honestly, I would love to get both these guys if we can. Let's not rule that out. If we can get, Sherm to agree on some deal, Shaq to agree on some deal. I do think that it's very unlikely to happen. Of course, that's a lot of money going to that department. But if we can find a manageable contract, I still say that would be a great goal. Remember, I was the guy that wanted Griffin and Clowney last year. So let's set that bar high and let's shoot for the stars. And even if you miss, you might land on the moon. So with Richard Sherman, I think it's important. We need to analyze some stats here, and I haven't heard the panel do it just yet. Shaq Griffin this past year, 12 games, 3 interceptions, 63 tackles, 53 solo, 12 passes defense. And if he's franchise tag, it'll put him at about $15 million. Richard Sherman last year only played 5 games, had 1 interception, 18 tackles, and 1 pass defense. Yes, he had a horrible year. Yes, it's because he was injured all year. But if you go back 2 years to the year before last year when San Francisco went on that crazy run, and if you did a blind stat comparison to Shaquill Griffin this past season, even though he played 3 more games, he had the same amount of interceptions as Shaq Griffin last year. He had 61 tackles to Shaq's 63, and he had 11 passes defenses to Shaq's 12. While yes, the supporting cast in San Francisco was much better 2 years ago than Seattle's defense was last year. Seattle's pass rush last year at the end of the season was top tier. We started to stack up with the NFL's best. If we are able to maintain an elite pass rush and we go out and draft another great corner that can play on the other side across from Sherm, or we go get somebody in free agency, and Sherm agrees to do that mentorship role.
Keep going. I turned off the voice. So we keep doing that.
Okay. Okay, I was like, hold the point. And if Richard Sherman agrees to do that mentorship role, remember, this offseason, Richard Sherman goes out and he tweets, essentially, he wants to help mentor a young defense while also competing for championships because he believes, and this is according to Richard Sherman, that he can still bring and lead a defense to be the caliber of the defenses that he once had. What better defense to bring to the caliber of the defenses that you once had than your own defense, the same defense that you did it on in the first place? Why not come back to Seattle on a really cheap deal? What if he agrees on a more cheap deal so that you could keep KJ Wright, so that you could bring in all these people and keep as a contender for Sherman, because he does have unfinished business. His last 2 Super Bowl appearances have been losses. What if you get him on a 2-year, $10 million deal, 2-year, $12 million deal? That is the price range that I'm looking for to bring in a Richard Sherman, whereas Shaq this year could be as much as $15 million. So if you could get Sherman for half or a third of what you can get Shaq Griffin, and you combine it with that pass rush, and he starts to give you those stats similar to 2 years ago, compared to last, obviously you can't tell if he's going to be healthy, but you can't tell if Shaq's going to be healthy either. So if you can get the same production pretty much as Shaq last year as you got from Sherman 2 years ago for a half to a third of the price, I say go for it. Bring back Richard Sherman.
Norb, I want to give Professor Squabble an apple and let him chew on it and decide if it's a good apple or a rotten apple.
Okay, hold your thought there, because I want to acknowledge a couple of super chats I missed. So Sports Live in the ATL, my buddy David down in Atlanta, with a super chat says, stopping in, Norb. Hello from Atlanta, Georgia. I heard he's going to be featured on the NBC affiliate down there for his channel. So I'm wishing him lots of good luck for, hopefully that'll be a big boost for his channel coming up. Can't wait to see that broadcast coming up soon. And then Chef Jack Attack says he's got to go to bed. Good night, everyone. It's late in the East Coast, so I guess early to bed, early to rise. So thank you guys for Chef Jack Attack. Thanks for being here. Good night. So back to you, Coach Marsh. You had something about Squabble.
I appreciate it. So yeah, I just want Squabble to sit back and enjoy relaxing in the class for a second, because he had a great lecture there. Let's pretend that Steezy and Nick are both talented wide receivers. I'm going to move to the other side of the ball just for a second for this hypothetical. And now Steezy gets to play in an offense where it is just run. Never throw the ball. He gets the ball thrown to him maybe like once or twice a game. Nick LeBeau goes to an offense where they throw it 40 times a game. And Nick LeBeau gets the ball thrown to him 15 of those times, and now he gets a bunch of those receptions and everything else. And now we have to equate who's doing the better job based on numbers. That's why sometimes stats and other things are misnomers to really what a player can do. And where I'm leading to is now one word. You had 2 words earlier, I had 3 words, now I'm going with 1 word, and that's scheme. Scheme makes all the difference in the world. And so if Richard Sherman was to come back under the current scheme that we're running, I don't believe he's going to be as successful. Could he return to old form? Of course he could. I think he's a great athlete. I think he could absolutely do that. But right now, we're developing the scheme that we're running is totally different than what Richard Sherman was really, really successful in, and a little bit of what he was successful in with San Francisco. So I just don't see, again, it's not me saying that, Shaq is a better deal so much as I'm just looking at more from kind of who's going to help us win a Super Bowl and get to the Super Bowl. From that standpoint, I got to go with Shaq because of the defense we're running to a point. But you're going to see in the breakdown tomorrow that some of the things that we probably get upset about with our DBs and Shaq in particular, or what have you, is about the scheme. So players sometimes fell in our defense because of scheme. Stuff that, it took me watching a bunch of film on it to recognize how much scheme is making a difference. So that's why I'm concerned that even if we brought Richard Sherman back, that he wouldn't be as successful as he was before, with regards to the scheme that we're running right now. It's not it's not what the LOB was doing.
It's a different scheme than before, you're saying.
And that's why I heard a lot of rumors, and I'm kind of leaning towards this potential that could be that he goes to Dallas this offseason with Dan Quinn, with a young secondary.
Yep. Nick LeBeau's right on top of it.
And they still, if they re-sign Dak, they're still a solid team. I don't know if I have 100% faith in Mike McCarthy, but they got they got names. They got Amari Cooper on their offense, great offensive line. And I think that Richard Sherman's leadership could lead that Dallas secondary and possibly even the entire defense.
Interesting. Squabble, did you want to add something to that? Or had you done making your point about the case? I know that Coach Marsh was bringing that in as a counterpoint to yours.
It wasn't really a counterpoint. I think we're kind of on the same page. Like, I'm not trying to say that Sherman's the better quarterback than Shaq.
Apple. He can choose if it's good or bad. I wasn't drilling him as much as just showing him. choose whether the apple is good or bad on that one.
So here's the thing that while you're going to spit that out, it's still, why do you think 71% of people polled felt like they would take Richard Sherman over, would want him back? Not necessarily Shaquill Griffin out, but would want to have Sherman back. Is it
because his name isn't Tommy Duffelmeyer? If his name is Tommy Duffelmeyer, nobody wants him back. But because his name's Richard Sherman, everybody wants him back.
No doubt.
So it's the love for the person.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Heck yes, without a doubt. Not without a doubt.
So they're thinking with their heart and their memories, and not with their knowledge of what he's actually done on the field.
Yeah, that's the definition of fans.
Norb, if you put a poll out that said, should the Seahawks re-sign Earl Thomas? Should the Seahawks re-sign Marshawn Lynch?
Cam Chancellor.
The majority's Cam Chancellor. The majority's going to be yes, just because of the names. Coach Marsh,
put Tommy Duffelmeyer out there in the thing, and put the exact same stats. Pull Richard Sherman out. Put Tommy Duffelmeyer in. I'm making it up. So in the super chat, don't ask.
Yeah, but Tommy Duffelmeyer didn't tip the ball to save the Seahawks season and send them to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
No, you're playing. But that's what I'm saying. You're doing it with your heart. So if they see Tommy Duffelmeyer, I think it goes 80-20. Keep Shaq, right?
Totally.
So that's
I wonder if I'd asked a different question. I should have phrased it. Would you take Richard Sherman over Shaquill Griffin? And maybe we get a different response. I didn't put one over the other. Maybe they're thinking, well, all things equal, and just throw him to the mix. Sure, let's bring him back. So there's always the numbers game, right? It's just like the Alex Collins thing. Hey, would you re-sign Alex Collins for a league minimum? Who wouldn't, right? There's nothing to lose on that one. But Richard Sherman is not going to take the league minimum. That's the problem. If we take Richard Sherman, somebody's got to go. And I don't know. That would be a great fantasy to have Richard Sherman and Shaquill Griffin. Heck, let's take Marshawn Lynch, Chris Carson, and Alex Collins. Let's just take them all. Problem is, we can't have them all. We have to make some tough
decisions. Like the other player that we have who's saying that he's not going to give us a hometown discount while being here, right? So Richard's not going to return back to the old Alamo and say he'll give us a discount. So interesting stuff.
Look at that segue to segue into KJ. Well done, sir. But actually, I want to take a momentary break from the analysis. I do want to take some calls because some people I think have been on the line waiting. But I do want to insert a thing here. This morning, I did something a little bit different from the norm. I got up early at like 6 a.m. Why? Because of a very charitable good cause that I was asked to do a favor for. It's for the Special Olympics of Washington 2021. And I was asked to get up super early in the morning and head down to downtown Seattle at the Space Needle to participate in what's called the Polar Bear Plunge as a way to try to raise money for the Special Olympics of Washington. I have the link in the description, but I'm going to show you a video real quick that I whipped up right before the show. I was literally editing it before I hit the countdown. So this was my morning at 8 a.m. at the base of the Space Needle. Check it out. That fountain, yes, it's crazy. We're getting that cold fountain over there, and we're going to be doing it to benefit the Special Olympics of Washington. So Ted, can you tell us a little bit more? Why are we doing this crazy thing today?
We're doing this for the 19,000 athletes for the state of Washington come out. They want to support them in their athletic ways. You have to understand that we don't think of the adults and the kids in the Special Olympics. We don't think they have a disability. We think of them having an ability and a huge ability. It's a great way to get involved and understand that we got to support the people that can't support themselves sometimes. And we're here for the Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics, and we're going to go jump in there and get wet and Norb's going to do it with us.
Oh man, it's crazy. Let's go. And we got Jake over here. Jake, what do you think? Is this gonna be fun or what?
It's going to be cold. How cold is it, Jake? 36.
It's cold. All right, and again, we got a special sponsor over here, Brotherton Cadillac, providing the vehicle to send these guys around, because this is only one of many stops, but it starts right here at the base of the Space Shuttle here in Seattle, jumping into that fountain. We're gonna get cold, but it's all for a good cause.
Oh, yeah.
Special Olympics of Washington.
So we're gonna do this?
Let's do it. Let's go!
All right, guys, we're about to get in the water for Special Olympics in Washington. It's going to be really warm, I promise. Okay, guys, we're going to get this. It's a nice short. So, let's get in the water. Let's go. Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord. Oh, okay, bring it. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Hey, get this. Let's do this, man. 3, 2, 1. Oh, God, it's cold. I'll wake you up in the morning. Woo. Anyway, it's all for a good cause. Again, check out Special Olympics of Washington 2021. I have a link here if you want to donate to the cause, because they can definitely use all the funds, all the support for Special Olympics of Washington. Donate, help. It's a good cause. Love you guys. Go to Special Olympics and go Hawks. Woo. There you go. So that was my morning, man.
That's really cool.
Oh, that was cold. I've been in some cold water. That was about as cold as it gets, but luckily I didn't have to stay in it too long. So, yeah, check it out. The link is in the description if you want to donate to the Special Olympics. That Ted got the fundraiser going on that he invited me to be part of it, Ted Rutt. So thank you, Ted. It was a fun experience this morning, and yeah, that's crazy, but. It's all good. All for a good cause. All right. So I'm glad to share all this with you guys. I want to get some calls now and just see what's on other people's minds. And then we'll kind of keep the conversation going from there. Then we go to Devin. Devin's always there talking during the game party, watch parties. Devin, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, guys?
Hold on a second. I see you. Why can't I hear you? Hold on. No, you're there. Hang on a second. Oh, wait. I know what it is. Can you guys hear?
Hello?
I cannot.
Can I hear that? Hold on a second. Hold on. I got this. All right. We're working on it. There's no troubleshooting on the fly. Devin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You can. Okay. He's talking, but it is just not coming through for some reason. Hang on a second here. Can you guys hear it over there? Can you guys hear? Can you hear Devin on YouTube? I think maybe they can. Oh, they say yes. They can hear him. All right, let's try this. Let me try this.
They say yeah.
Let me try this. Let's go with. They're saying they say yes. They can hear him. Okay, let me try both.
Yeah, you can hear through the.
Okay, Devin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you guys hear that? Can the panel hear Devin? How about now? Devin, can you say something?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still not hearing it. Oh, they're still not hearing it. All right, I gotta work out the. All right, I gotta work out the
wait,
technique.
now. I can now.
Did you hear that?
Hold on,
Okay.
Devin. Speak more.
Devin, ask a question.
What's going on, guys? How's it going?
What's up?
Okay, all right,
now
go
I
there.
can hear him.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Devin, what's on your mind?
Yeah. Before I. Oh, wait, hang on. There's an echo. Not echo.
Oh, are you getting the echo?
Yeah, I can't hear myself.
Oh, I know why. Because of some funky stuff going on here. All right, hold on a second. Oh, this is
See, guys, while he's doing that, Norb needs a Norb. It's like I have Norb when I have issues. Norb doesn't have a Norb to go to when he has issues.
I am my tech support. Hey, Devin, hold on a second. I'm going to get this worked out, but I just got to get the technology worked out. So hang tight. Sorry about that, guys. Callers, hang tight. We'll get this worked out. while we're working on this is what you call
you can go to
time
Mike,
killer.
I guess. You can probably go to Mike, but he's probably playing video games. He's doing his 80s games.
No, this is what I do. So this is what I'm going to distract here. I'm going to throw a KJ question. So while you guys are answering the KJ question, I'm going to quickly solve the problem with the audio. So let's talk about KJ. KJ was recently in the news saying that he would love to come back to Seattle, but there's no chance he's given a hometown discount. But he said maybe if they can get creative with it, they could find a way. So what does that mean exactly? It's kind of a lot of mixed messages there. Steezy, let's go to you, man. What's your feeling about KJ? I think when we've talked about him in the past, we've all said we all want KJ Wright back, but it's going to cost something because he's obviously earned himself to another contract. What do you take of his comments, and do you think Seattle should find a way to make it work?
Of course, they should find a way to make it work. I mean, he probably had arguably the best season of his career, playing a different position on the defense. And so he's definitely earned it. He has no reason to take a pay cut, even if for the benefit of the team. He's 31 years old. And so, he's looking to collect every last penny as he should, And I think what he means by if Seattle can get creative is maybe including incentives in his deal. Maybe if he's able to eclipse or reach some of the heights that he reached last year, maybe he could reach a certain number of money. But I think that because we have a guy like Jordan Brooks in the waiting, I think that because we have a need on the offensive line at wide receiver 3/tight end, cornerback, I'm just not sure we're able to afford KJ Wright at this point in his career. And I don't think he could kind of build off what he did last year. I mean, like I said, he's 31 years old. I'm not sure if he has his best days in front of him. I think they're more so behind him. But he does bring a lot more to the table than just his play on the field. He's a great addition in the locker room. He's a great team leader. He's well respected. He's a veteran. He has a great relationship with all the guys there. And so I think the Seattle front office should definitely do everything that they can in their power to bring him back, even if it's at a number that we don't necessarily like or can even afford. I think for me, 10 million plus is way too much for him. But if we could turn some of that money into either a signing bonus, or if we could turn some of that money into money down the line, if we could turn some of that money into incentives, then by all means, let's go for it. Let's bring him back. But like I said earlier, because we have a guy like Jordan Brooks in the wings, because we have so many other needs, I'm just not sure if he's a luxury that we can afford at this point.
It's tough, man. He was one of the outstanding guys out of the linebackers this year. Nick, what do you think?
Well, I don't think he's gone quite yet. Steezy, you made up a good point. We did draft Brooks mainly to replace him, but he really did prove last year that he's still a top linebacker in this league. He had a phenomenal year, and when our defense was at its lowest in the beginning of the year, he was the guy that was making the plays. He was making those urgent tackles. He was batting balls down, and I think he's worth the money. Steezy, great point. I think what we need to do with his contract is try to lure him back in with not a bunch of guaranteed money, but incentives, signing bonuses, money that can be converted into bonuses. And that's really the only way I see Seattle getting KJ Wright back. But I do think it is definitely a top priority.
I always wonder how players take to that. It's so easy for us as fans from the outside to say, yeah, they should just put a lot of incentives in there, and that way they have to earn it, right? And the players probably going, screw that. I need to make sure that if I get hurt, I'm not going to suddenly lose all the money I was going to make just because I got this unfortunate injury that I had no control over. Easy for us to say, it's so good for the fans and for the organization, not so good for the player who's trying to get guaranteed money as much as they can. Squabba, what do you think?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things when you have to consider when you're talking about bringing back KJ Wright. Yes, there have been great points on both sides of the discussion so far. But what I like in this situation, too, with Jordan Brooks being drafted to replace him, and then KJ Wright has one of the best years of his career, doesn't that sound a little bit similar to what just happened in Wisconsin with Jordan Love getting drafted, and then Aaron Rodgers has an MVP season? Like, no, I still got plenty left. Don't try and replace me yet. I'm still good. You need to pay me, like all that kind of stuff. Now we're seeing that same kind of deal with KJ Wright. Here's the thing with KJ Wright. There are a lot of linebackers making a lot of money in the NFL. As a matter of fact, the inside linebacker making the most money in the NFL is Bobby Wagner with $18 million being his annual salary, which means that Seattle is not in a position to pay another linebacker top linebacker money, at least on the interior, especially especially the draft or the year after drafting someone in the first round. So I think KJ Wright would be ignorant to not acknowledge that. If he wants to go out and make $13 million a year somewhere and support his family, good for him. Great for him. Go do it. I will fully support. But if he wants to stay in Seattle, and I think that he does, I also think that it's the best option for his career moving forward. He knows the system. He's been here for so long. He's coming off his best season of his career. What if he goes to a situation where he has a different role, or anyone that's willing to pay him that level of money isn't going to be as much of a competitor at that point? Probably. So, in my opinion, I think we bring him back. He had 1 interception last year, 10 passes defense, 1 forced fumble, 2 recoveries, and 2 sacks. That is not top inside linebacker money. I say somewhere around $10 million is the most that I would give for him on an annual basis, which is just about where I put Shaq Griffin, the most I want to pay for him necessarily, about $10-11 million. KJ, I'd want on a 3-year deal at 10, 9, 11, somewhere in there $1 million. And yes, you want to push most of it to the back end if possible, because the salary cap will continue to grow and that'll make it less of a hit. But regardless, I think KJ belongs in Seattle. I think he just showed us that he's still in his prime, and he had one of his best years, if not the best year of his career. So I say we give him another opportunity, and I say we run it back.
And that interception that you mentioned, that was a one-handed, spectacular game. Part of the game-changing interception against the Vikings, if you recall. The amazing play that he did, and we probably lose that game if he doesn't get that interception.
We were playing awful.
It was all part of that. I think like 3 touchdowns in a period of like 2 minutes or something, and that was part of that. Coach Marsh, I think we got Nick's take, Squabos, Coach Marsh's to come, and Skeezy. And I did get my audio problem worked out, so Devin, hang on there. All the callers, I was able to pull the magic while Nick was while I was buying time when Nick answered that KJ question. So let's go to Coach Marsh and finish up the KJ discussion. Then we'll take some calls. So Coach Marsh, KJ,
and I want to preface it with that. Like, I love KJ Wright, and my favorite, even though I was an offensive side of the ball guy forever as a coach, my favorite core group are linebackers. Like,
now, I gotta say something, man. I get nervous. I get nervous when you start blowing up compliments. When you first start by saying, I got to start by saying, I love this guy, because you've had many things where you say, I love DK Metcalf, I love Russell Wilson, then there's this whole slew of criticism that comes down the line. So you're making me nervous. You're getting me nervous already, man. You're getting me nervous here. But go ahead, continue.
This is what to be nervous about. I mean, if we can make it work, of course. I mean, I would love to keep him and have him. And Squabble brought up some great numbers, but a couple of things. I always believed, and most coaches will tell you that on the defense, you build from the inside out. You build inside out, front to back, started in the middle, right? So the middle, we've got it hammered with Bobby. Number 1 ranked linebacker in the NFL on 3 different sites that I have researched. Same with Jamal Adams at safety. Inside out, front to back. So we've got 2 guys that are ranked number 1 on multiple sources, and everybody else you talk to. Where we don't have it is up front at the defensive tackle / nose, depending on what defense you're playing position. We don't even have anybody who's really in the top 25 up there. So if we're gonna focus so much money into those 2 positions at linebacker when we already have the number 1 guy in the middle, again, I don't want to lose him. But if I'm being realistic about what helps us get to the Super Bowl, I'd rather us give up that money, those points, and go after something up front to solidify something up front to keep guys off of Bobby, so that Bobby can continue his Hall of Fame career and keep the guy and take the tackles from sideline to sideline, and then corners learn how to funnel it in, because we have it in the middle, we have it behind the middle, we just don't have it up in front. And so when KJ, I don't want to lose him, but at the same time, if we're being realistic, and I do, I look at things from a standpoint of, in this time, and I know he's just saying things off the cuff probably really quick, but as a realist, it's a little tone deaf when you're saying I need to set up my family and everything else. Like, not in this era that we're living in right now. And this is just being a pure person, right? I took the hometown discount at the place I worked at for 17 years. Now, the money was totally, obviously, we're not talking millions of dollars, but I was still thinking about my family. I had opportunities that were awesome on the table, and it was right after, you were videotaping during the time when we were having our best run ever. I had some awesome opportunities, but when I went to talk to my bosses and stuff, And they said, look, we can't afford to take, this and this and that. And again, we're not talking millions, but it was just me going, hey, look, you guys helped me get here. So I'm going to be loyal to that. And that's why I wish more guys in this pandemic or post-pandemic era would look at it from a standpoint of, yes, you want to go make your money. I get it. How much does a guy need? I don't know. It's relative to what your lifestyle is, I guess. But don't forget who gave you your shot and who got you here, and the 12s and all those other people. You just want guys to be from a standpoint of, like when I was watching Shaquill Griffin, not Shaquill, but Shaquem. I went back and looked at his draft, and he's down there hugging the 12s and everything. Like there's guys that just appreciate where they are and where they're at. I hope he does that. I know he appreciates it, and I love him. But if he's got to go because he's just looking at it from a business standpoint, then I got to look at it from a business standpoint as a fan and say, okay, go. Then let's focus on getting somebody better up front so that Bobby and Jamal can do their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It is. I think us as fans, we always sort of roll our eyes a little bit when players say, well, I got to take care of my family and stuff because, that $18 million that I've made is just not enough because I got to get that other, it's all relative. And I understand that it's, you're in a different scale. And you're, of course, if you don't look at it in terms of dollars, you just look at it in terms of units of pay for what you should be making at that position. You kind of have to strip away the connection to reality. Just go, okay, well, if the line is here for a typical linebacker, well, I should be somewhere here or here or here. Yeah. That's kind of what it is, obviously, as opposed to I'm going to die of starvation if I don't get this contract. If I'm talking to my buddies about it, we don't talk about from a dollar standpoint because then we get into that philosophical. Well, as a human being, you need to live $14.8 million bucks. Yeah. So that allows us to keep it aside. But I had to kind of say that as the old dude that I am. But if I put that aside and just look at it as points, then yeah, Bobby, then KJ deserves to have more points than we're probably going to be able to afford to give him. Otherwise, it becomes a Russ situation where are we going to say, gosh, hey, it's great we kept these two linebackers and 4-12 is awesome. But, 4-12 isn't awesome. It doesn't get us anywhere because we didn't help ourselves up front, didn't help ourselves in the line, everything else. So that's the beauty of the chess match that is free agency. It's an interesting thing is, that I think even as a player, there's always that debate probably within your own camp as to more money, which is more important, making the money or winning the games, right? Because everybody says they want to win. But ultimately, would you, if you could sit down with a fortune teller and they could say, okay, if you take 15 million, right? 15 million, but then your team's going to go 8-8 and you're not going to make the playoffs. But if you take 10 million, you'll go 11-5 or 12-4 and you'll make the playoffs. Which would the player take if they could actually predict the outcome of the team based on how much money they make? Obviously, it'll never happen. But in a theoretical standpoint where it's kind of the question that we'll be facing Russell Wilson, assuming he's still here after the next 2-3 years for the next contract, will he go for max money because that's what he deserves? Or would he go for a little bit less, knowing that if he takes a little bit less, the team might be better, maybe we'll get a couple more wins or maybe win a playoff
And that's why
game.
I wish the guy would make the decision. And I think this is probably a Steezy follows this way more than I do. But if players were the ones that actually made the choice and it wasn't the agent that got involved, if you could pull the agent away and just let a player make his decision based on what he felt in his heart, I think the landscape of all sports would be totally different. But when you get a Lee Steinberg and you get these other guys that get involved, so like Steezy, I think Nick LeBeau, you guys follow these things way more than I do. But again, what are your thoughts on that? If they were to take the agent out of these equations, do you think it would change much?
Oh, 100%.
Based on what Norb brought up, his hypothetical?
No doubt.
100%. Agents are always trying to they're always trying to ensure that their clients are being paid the absolute most because agents get some of that bread as well. They want to get paid too. The more that the players get paid, the more the agents get paid. And so they're thinking about not just the players' payday, they're thinking about their own payday.
In that order? I think they're thinking about their payday, right? No, I'm joking with you. I think they're thinking about their own payday first, right? So, right. Because I think a KJ would. I think other guys would have stayed, over the course of time. But that's the landscape everywhere. So it's not like it's just one guy. But
then an agent could also be like, sorry, coach, but an agent could also be like, oh, they could talk to. What if KJ Wright's agent's talking to them, talking about, oh, remember how you were almost a cap casualty last offseason? He could bring that up and say, don't give them a hometown discount. They were about to cut you last offseason if you didn't take a restructuring or if you didn't have a career year. And so agents could also bring up outside factors such as that.
Yeah. Nick LeBeau, what teams could he go to? I know there's got to be, you name one defensive coordinator. There's probably a few other coaches that would love to have their old player back maybe.
Yeah, it's hard. I I don't really see any teams right now in the NFL that have enough money for KJ's desire that are like literally top contenders. Yeah, KJ.
Could he go be with the Gus Bradley?
Well,
Or are you saying?
That's a
or are you saying
possibility in
or-
Las Vegas. They do need more defensive players in Vegas. But honestly, I'm going to go back to Dallas because I think if Richard Sherman goes to Dallas, KJ Wright goes to Dallas. Assuming the Seahawks don't offer him top dollar. I think KJ Wright's top priority is to get the most money, be on a winning team, stay in Seattle. But I think if he had the option to get a lot of money and go to Dallas with Richard Sherman, I think he'd definitely take it. And he's playing.
I'm gonna pull a Norb on you, Nick. Where do you think he will go? Where do you think a year from now he will be? Now, be careful what you answer because the super chat will rip you apart if you say he's going to leave. I'm just kidding you. Honestly, I'm curious. Where do you think? Do you think he'll stay or do you think he'll go? If you had to really decide today,
it's really hard because, man, I'm honestly going to lean towards stay. I'm going to lean towards stay. I think we eventually give him the money. After, I think it'll kind of be a Clowney situation where he'll go into free agency, he'll visit a couple teams, he'll wait a while, see what the market's like. But I eventually do have him coming back to Seattle.
And I want to add to that, just from a personal standpoint. KJ Wright's been in here he's been here a long time, right? And I know that he's a Seattle home guy. And a couple of years ago, my daughter was in the same volleyball club as KJ Wright's daughter was as well. And we had a couple of times we actually ran into him over at the practice facility and stuff. And I think about those things, and I know he could still have, obviously, his life here or his home here and have a career somewhere else. But I think there's something about that I would like to think that that's going to weigh in a lot more than, say, someone who's young, has no family, and is just like, I'll go wherever the money is. I think there's something that could weigh in and just nudge it a little bit more where he might not draw that hard line. Like every dollar and cent's going to come down to that line. I think that's going to weigh into it. And maybe he'll be more willing to make some adjustments to his deal to stay here. Just because, how many years does he have left, really? He and Sherman are kind of on the same track that we're talking maybe 2. All right. Can anyone see KJ going past 2 years?
12. You're like, I mean, you obviously epitomize what the 12s are. Yeah. In my opinion, I think in other opinions. Don't you think that there's some guys that if they're in good standing, like I'm not talking guys that have bad issues and so they're going to leave us or whatever, but he's in good standing with you don't hear anything bad about him right now, right? Like he's got to think like these fans are unbelievable. And like if I go somewhere else, do I get to play in front of like these type of, there's only maybe 2 or 3 places in the whole NFL that you can even come close to comparing what it's like to play here in Seattle. That's why free agents like to come here. And then they come, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So I agree with what you're saying. Like there's a family side, but don't you also think that there is that kind of loyalty to a place that's just so phenomenal to play at, to just like going back to his high school days or wherever, like, man, you like to play in front of a crowd and an energized crowd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was it 4 or 5 years ago when Michael Bennett re-signed, and it was big. He was big at the time. He was like probably one of the best defensive linemen in the league. And so they had a press conference for him or whatever. And I remember the number one thing he said was, a big part in me signing or re-signing was the 12s. Mm-hmm. Like there's no other place like this. You can go to these nice fancy stadiums. And the problem with these nice fancy stadiums is that most of the fans are out doing the fancy stuff rather than sitting and yelling, where when you go to the Clink, or now Lumen Field, it's all pure yelling and screaming, your head's off. There's no other place to play like Seattle. I guess Kansas City, you could argue. But yeah, I think that'll be a big part in him staying.
It's the only place you can get 67,000 people in Seattle not to drink coffee at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
I will have to argue, though, that it has changed a little bit. I think what it was back in 2013 or 12, 13, 14, 15, it feels like it has been a little bit watered down since. I don't know if it's because they priced the tickets so high that the people the season ticket holders are selling their tickets to get the money because people are paying it, and the people are the more casual fan who spends more time on their phone than actually watching the game. I've noticed that myself. So it's a little bit frustrating. Hopefully that'll be re-energized when we come back and people will be more appreciative of the fact that, hey, we're at a game. Let's let a year of frustration of not being here really erupt the next time we're back in this place. So.
Yeah.
All right.
But we also had a lot of those woo plays, right? I mean, I always talk about the woo hits and the woo blocks, and I'm sure Squabo was woo nailing people back in his day. When he was pancaking guys off the line and stuff. We don't have that, right? Now DK's bringing that to us on the offense. Like we finally have a woo guy on the offense, and defensively we haven't really had that since back in the day. That's what made it so energizing. Is man, if you went to go get something to drink or popcorn or go to the restaurant, or whatever, you thought you were going to miss a woo hit or a woo play, and now you don't feel that way. Like, okay, if defense is out there, we might get an interception, but we're not going to get that like game busting play. Like
also because
the
NFL. It's also because the NFL is kind of like if Cam Chancellor did that hit on Vernon Davis last season, he'd be suspended for like 2-3 games and fined like $300,000. It's ridiculous. So I feel like they've really watered down the defensive hits, and that's kind of the reason for us seeing those less woo plays on the defensive side.
That's why you don't want to leave when we're punting and kicking, because they're the two biggest hitters right now that the NFL allows to hit people, and we have two that can hit.
Yeah. They can. They do. All right. Let's. I think I got the lines fixed. Let's take some calls and see what the viewers have to say. Devin, let's see if this works. Devin, you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, look at that. It's working. Magic.
Yes,
all right.
Sir.
What's on your mind, man? Thanks for hanging on.
I have a couple add-ons, the Sherman, the KJ Wright situation and all that. But first, I just want to say, when you posted your cover version of Shay, I think you saw my comment on the video. Oh my gosh, that was so heat. That was so fire.
Thank you, man.
That's a top 5 all-time favorite song of mine, and you just made it. Oh my gosh. That was amazing.
Oh, it was the top 5 a year. That's great. I wasn't sure how many people would remember that song and they're talking about. He's talking about my acapella version of Why We Should Not Trade Russ, and it was of a Shy song called If I Ever Fall in Love Again. It was an acapella group back in the early '90s, and anyway, it was a fun video. I hadn't done a music thing in a while, so it was fun to do that. So I appreciate when people kind of remember these old school, because this group didn't last that long, but it was a very iconic acapella song of the day. So appreciate the shout out, man. That's cool.
Yes, sir. Okay, so about the Richard Sherman situation, I was thinking we don't go for Sherman mainly because we still have DJ Reed on the contract, and I think DJ Reed did a good enough amount to like prove in a way to like he should compete for a spot as a starter. And Quentin Dunbar, we can sign on a cheaper deal, I believe, because he has unfinished business. He's been hurt mostly the whole season last year. So there's cheaper options. I would love Uncle Sherm to come back. It's gonna be a price thing. I don't.
He did.
Yes, sir. I call him Uncle Sherm now. Uncle Sherm.
That's how much we love him, man.
Yes, sir. Okay, but yeah, I think I would love him to come back, but there's other cheaper, younger options out there we could go for. But re-signing Shaq, a really good start, and then probably re-signing Quentin Dunbar, and then we have DJ Reed still, like I said. So
yeah, DJ Reed.
And then with the
we also have a deep cornerback.
Yeah, and then with the kids. Yep. And then and then we possibly will re-sign. Maybe we could re-sign Ryan Neal. Ryan Neal did really solid. So we got some other options. So.
We don't need Uncle Sherman. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I like it. And the KJ Wright situation now is actually almost the same as Richard Sherman's deal when he was with us. He had a deal from the 49ers, and then he gave us a chance to re-sign. And from the business standpoint, Sherm wasn't gonna give us a discount, so he took the business and the money over, the discount. And I think KJ's in the same boat as Sherm when he went through free agency. So, and with KJ, we got Jordan Brooks, and I think, but like, he's still going to have that, like, Seattle's going to forever be his home. Like, I see Richard Sherman train my best friend when he comes back to Seattle in the summer. So it's always going to be their home. It's just, on the business aspect, they have to do what they can to get as much money as they can while they still can.
One thing about KJ that I'm kind of surprised no one has brought up yet. I mean, we still have Cody Barton on the roster. Now, I know Cody Barton's more of an inside linebacker, I'm pretty sure he's Bobby Wagner's backup. But I believe it was not last season, but the season before, he got some reps in the Carolina game when Bobby went down, and he looked solid. I mean, obviously you're not going to play the best when it's like your first snaps. But what would you guys think about Cody Barton? Do you think he's ready to assume that major role?
And here's the thing I forgot about that too.
Go ahead. Go ahead. He's
sorry.
talking. Go for it. No, go for it. You're on the line. You're on the line. Go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing about I totally forgot. We got Cody Barton. We got Ben Burke-Irvin. There's a bunch of young people we forgot about because they were there. They were mostly special teamers, and they were really good special teamers too. They made a lot of good plays as special teamers. So I think I think the next man up mentality could work.
I don't know. The fact that you said, "Oh yeah, I forgot about him." There's a reason to forget about them because they're not at the front for a reason. And you need those guys who are on the special teams. And some guys only stay at the special teams and don't quite ascend to that starting level or level. I'm not saying that he's.
To be fair to our backup linebackers, our linebacker core is probably the most healthy position group all year long. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember a single linebacker being out for at least 2 games this entire year.
You might be right about
Irvin, but
other than Bruce Irvin, but he's more of a edge guy in my mind.
No, that's true. We had that was one area that was deep. We didn't have to delve deep because the 3 core guys were always pretty healthy. So that's a good point. Hey Devin, I'm going to switch to some other callers, get some other people a chance to talk, but appreciate hearing from you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, while you're switching, I think one of the things as fans that you should, obviously, I think a lot of you probably know, a lot of your backups end up being your special teams guys. So you may not have heard of Cody and some of those others, but they're the ones that are out there. If our special teams are doing well, it's because we have decent enough backup linebackers and backup DBs, and backup running backs and backup wide receivers that can go out there and make those type of plays. So special teams is a third of the game, even though we never talk about it, as fans very much, unless things go wrong. But, is he good enough to be a takeover guy? I don't think so. But is he worth keeping because he's a special teams guy? Yeah, and those aren't. Special teams guys are not a dime a dozen. You can't just bring guys in to fill spots. So,
and they're not costing a lot of money.
The thing about that too, Barton's most impactful play from this year was against the Rams when he forced a fumble on that special teams that we could have recovered that would have changed the game even more. So you brought it up. Cody Barton is one of those guys. If we take him away from our special teams unit, we do have to fill that role, and that is another big body and a big role. Cody Barton makes plays on special teams, so I definitely, if we can, I'd love to keep him there.
Yeah.
Oh, good point. Let's bring on Rain. Rain from who looks like it's spelled Rickson. Rain, who makes lots of appearances on Coach Marsh's show and a regular online.
Rain from Virginia.
Rain from Virginia, you there?
Yeah.
Rain, are you there?
Yep. Can
there
you hear me?
Oh, there, I can hear you now. What's on your mind?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
So about the Sherman thing, if he does resign, who are we gonna give up for him? Are we gonna give up a first rounder or a player? Who would it be if we were to?
First rounder. We don't even have a first rounder. You're I don't see giving up a first rounder. I don't think giving up a first rounder at any place would make a lot of sense.
Who are we trading off? Well, who's the trade-off? That's how I always look at that type of question, right?
Yeah, you can't get something.
Who's the trade-off?
Oh, okay, I see.
If we bring
who's the player in question?
Who's going?
Richard Sherman. If we were to bring Richard Sherman, who are we gonna lose? What are we gonna give up to get him?
Yeah, you have to give up something. Yeah.
No, he's a free agent.
Well, yeah,
but he's a roster position, right? What roster position?
He's a roster position.
To bring him on, who's going to go for us to actually bring Sherman here? What? Something would have to go.
Trey Flowers.
But if we bring back Sherman, that means we're probably losing Shaquill Griffin. So
I wouldn't think.
Well,
I
if
wouldn't.
Sherman comes back, we're definitely losing Dunbar, in my opinion. Well,
because if we bring back Griffin, what's the point of signing Sherman? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you make Sherman the guy on the right side, right? I know he's the left corner on the left, but could he switch right?
We're going to keep KJ Wright, and now we got 3 guys that have taken up all of our money, and we're going to play with 8 guys on defense total. Because all our money's gone, and we have 3 guys on offense because Russ and DK in 2 years. DK's going to want his money too, so we'll play with 2.
Yeah, and Dwayne Brown.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Rain. I mean, you bring up a good question. What do you give up? That's all these players. Every one of them is a sacrifice, especially these high-profile ones who are going to command a lot of money, because for every one of those, you're giving up a couple of things in some other areas that you might be able to afford for something else. So, you got to really weigh those things. If only there was a magic crystal ball, because the most horrible thing is you invest, you go, okay, let's pull the trigger, let's get this guy. And then they suffer an injury in game 2 and they're out for the season, right? I mean, no one wants that. The player doesn't want it. The team doesn't want it. The fans don't want it. And yet it's a very real possibility. We see it happen all the time with teams, going on. And that's just that other part of it, which is why the team-friendly incentive deal is what we want, so that you don't have that risk of a player not being able to contribute and then being paid so much money. But the player and their agent aren't going to go for that. So,
and we get so caught up in the status quo, we fear change. Yet every year, every week, every day, every minute, we're complaining that we're not doing what it takes to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's why I do like who we have running our team and running our front office in Schneider. Like the fact that he re-signed to stay here. I do like that he and Carroll collaborate pretty well, and they're willing to go after guys. So as much as it's the show's about who do we risk losing and what's going to happen to our current guys, I get amped with the guys that we don't even know about yet, right? Like I'm excited for the guys that we don't know that we're going to be cheering for, because if you look at the track record of some of the people we brought in over the years, we usually bring in some heavy hot hitter, hoping that they stay healthy. But going back from Adams to a Clowney to you go down the list of guys that we brought in, as other teams do as well. I just think that's the fun part. So we get worried about who's going to leave, but there should be an excitement for who we're going to bring in and change things up a little, bring something to the mix to get us over the top and get us where we need to be.
Well, and there's always the excitement of the next guy in, right? That's why even the potential for those people who say, well, yeah, maybe it's time for us to move on and we can get somebody in here. We were the best when we had a quarterback on his rookie contract, when they say Russell Wilson when he got the 2 Super Bowls. Easy to say, hey, it's correlation between rookie quarterback in year 1 and 2 equals Super Bowls for us. Doesn't mean you get a quarterback in there at rookie year, they're going to go back to the Super Bowl. Obviously, there's a lot of things that all come down to that. And so, it's always tough, but, And
even though we're on free agency, obviously when the draft comes in too, right? We don't know what player is going to come in out of the draft and wow us. And you can do that at, you can definitely do it at the DB position. Linebacker's a little bit tougher unless you're, kind of a stud. And in fact, we're not getting a top guy, but going back to Russ again, right? Like in the first game of that first year for him, some people knew what he had done in college, but most people didn't follow his career, let alone know that he was going to take us to two Super Bowls in the first few seasons he was with us, as did all these other players develop, the Legion of Boom and all these other guys that we didn't know who Cam Chancellor was, who Richard Sherman was, who Doug Baldwin was, all these other guys. And then they take off. So, as we draft guys or get them through free agency as younger players, that's the fun part, because I think we can develop them into what we need to.
We just haven't had as many of those exciting household turn names like we did in the early part of the decade as we have in recent years, right? We just haven't had as many of those guys where you go, this guy, late round guy, just blossomed into this all-star guy. I mean, when's the last time we've had a guy who came in lower than the 3rd round who's become a stud on the team? I think Chris Carson's one of them, because he was a 7th round pick. Who
David
now is
Moore, you could guess. I mean,
David Moore, was he 6th round or 7th round?
He was 6th round, so obviously he was better than his pick.
But he's still not any better than a number 3 receiver.
Nick, I don't know if you'll know this, but this Squabble and Steezy, this might be more for you. I don't know how many of Norb's videos you've watched, but he's starting to get really close to somebody that he can't stand in his videos, and that is Cristostomo, because there's a couple of videos where he rips on Cristostomo for leaning on nothing but the era of the multiple Super Bowl rings of the 80s and I think very early 90s for the 49ers. And Norb's getting really close to living in the world of nostalgia constantly, of needing to go back to 2013, 14, and 15.
like
and relying on that. Like, what do you guys think? Is he there? Is he over the top yet?
Only with the quarterback. Only with the quarterback.
The thing is,
stay here, Norb. Stay with us. Don't go Christostomo on us and get all like always bring. Well, we did win this. We did go to the Super Bowl 2013-14. Like, that's almost a decade ago, buddy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's better than going back to like 20, 30 years almost.
I agree. I just want 10 years if we don't win the Super Bowl. Like we're coaching more about the hybridation. Okay, man.
I agree.
It's been 22 years since we made to the Super Bowl. But you got to stop making Russell Wilson videos and Legion of Boom videos. It's 2034 now.
Russell Wilson is still relevant, though. Legion of Boom, that is in the past. All right, that was a great question. Let's go to another call here. I know I see people itching for trivia, and we are getting to that point in the time of the show. So let's go try to squeeze in a couple more comments or questions. BJ on the line. Go for it, man.
Yeah, so, this is more like the cornerback situation and more defensive thing I'm going to talk about, but like the Bucks, what they did on defense, they built up their pass rush, paid the guys, and then they really just got young guys, inexperienced more kind of guys for their secondary, and what that did was that the quarterback didn't have enough time to go through his like receivers and see which one is like open, because there's all this pressure in his face, and so he can't really go through his go through and look at his receivers. So I think we should really not pay our corners too much. I think Shaquill Griffin isn't really worth it. People talk him as like he was like next Richard Sherman. So I wouldn't really pay or get any like expensive cornerbacks because I don't think they're really worth it.
So what you're kind of saying is you think it's more important to have a better defensive line and pass rush, because a great defensive line makes any corner look good, right? If they're in their face in the first 1.5, 2 seconds, as opposed to you give the best cornerback a crappy D line, he's not going to be able to cover the guy, right? You got Stephon Gilmore, he's not going to cover somebody for 5 seconds. He eventually get it open. Is that what you're saying? That basically you feel like don't overpay the corners, save that money, invest it in the defensive line? Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah.
Defensive line is actually the one position that I think is really going to blossom next season. I mean, we got some young studs. We got Alton Robinson, Darrell Taylor coming back, LJ Collier. He said on Good Morning Football this morning, he's like, we're going to be the best defense next year. I think he's going to really have a breakout year. Carlos Dunlap, hopefully he'll be back next season. I'm really excited for the defensive line. Looks like Poona Ford's most likely going to be coming back.
Jaron Reed.
Yeah, defensive line.
What's Jaron Reed's situation? Is he under contract?
Jaron Reed.
One more year.
He's under contract for one more year.
Okay, so
I could see Reed being the odd man out
after this year.
No, this year.
Well, he's under contract for one more season, right?
No, like a trade or a cap cut.
Oh, you're saying even before the season that they deal him out and try to get some more pieces for him.
Yeah, you could probably get a third at most.
Did you guys feel like, how do you feel Jaron Reed was? Because, Jaron Reed was an interesting guy. We went through the whole thing where he had that huge breakout year, and we all thought, if he can get that, how many sacks did he get? 13 sacks or something? It was something
He was rolling
crazy in that one year. And then we all thought, when he comes back, he's going to have that. He's going to replicate that. Well, then he got the suspension. So, once he gets back from that, he'll really have a breakout. Once he gets a full year, he'll be fine. And he never really has reached. It's now thinking that was an anomaly instead of like a norm for him. Yep. So maybe he just cashed in on that year, but maybe that's really not who he is.
In my opinion, Jaron Reed is the product of the defensive ends next to him. We saw it a few years ago when he had that breakout year. He had Frank Clark, who also had a phenomenal year. He didn't really do much last season. Obviously, you could blame it on the 6 games suspension, but you could also blame it on the lack of productivity from Jadeveon Clowney. He wasn't very good until Carlos Dunlap got here. Once Carlos Dunlap got cooking, Jarran Reed started getting cooking. So I believe Jarran Reed, when lined up next to a good defensive end, can be a good defensive tackle.
Well, maybe that's the point BJ's making.
That's right.
Oh, let me get this out. Maybe that's the kind of point BJ's saying is that, you start in the trenches, which often is, the battle starts in the trenches, but you like you said, build on the inside out. If you got the inside guys that, get the right guys on the ends, the tackles perform better, and then the back end performs better. Is that kind of the philosophy that you start in the middle there, everything else improves, as opposed to paying a lot here, but if you have nothing in the middle, this investment doesn't pay off.
Yeah, and that's why Nick LeBeau would be on my coaching staff any year that I ever coach, because he totally understands the philosophy of building from the inside out. And it's not that those players have to be great. It's that if you get good external guys on the outside edges and other spots, it allows them to be funneled in. Yeah. And now that inside guy can make those tackles, right? And if the corner's forced in, the outside linebacker's forced in, it allows Bobby to make tackles and keeps guys off the front. So it's all complementary, but it starts with that interior, just like it does on the offensive side. You got to have your center's got to be great, quarterback, and that single back or full back in the day, he's got to be great. And then everything else can take care of itself. But on this defensive side, build it from the inside out. And like Nick LeBeau said, get a good end, and that's what's going to allow him to blossom. But when those guys aren't there, they're not healthy or what have you, that guy's taking on double, triple teams. I mean, it's just the way of the league. It's always going to be the way football is. Football teams know if you can take care of the other team's interior all the way back, you're probably going to win the game.
All right, we're going to take a couple more questions, then we're going to get to the trivia. So we're going to go to John Rick 453. John Rick 453, you're on.
Hello.
Hi there. What you got?
So I think we won't re-sign KJ Wright, even though he's done really good for us for all the time he's been. Because we drafted Jordan Brooks, I think he'll be his replacement. And then for that Sherman and Shaquill thing, I think we should resign Shaquill because, he's a young, healthy, and good corner. And Sherman's, older, and I think he's regressing. And I'd rather pay a little bit more to a younger corner than an older corner that, he could be not as good right now.
Well said. Shaquill Griffin did have an injury this season. Didn't he miss a few games mid-season?
He did miss a few games.
Like 2 or 3 in that stretch in the middle when we were struggling.
And
a bad time for him to be gone. It was a bad time for him to be missing.
I want to say it was Los Angeles down there and Buffalo were the 2 games he missed.
Yeah. Well,
that's right, because he got injured in the. Oh no, that was Dunbar.
Dunbar was hurt. Well, Dunbar was playing against the Buffalo, and he clearly not well. He was running around with half a leg or something. So,
right, because Dunbar got hurt in the Arizona game after he's having a great game. Was out against the Rams, and then Buffalo game.
Great points there. Let's go to the last caller here. This is Seahawks for Life, regular of the show. Seahawks for Life, Pham. You're the last caller. What's on your mind? Hello? You're the last caller. What's on your mind? Hello, Seahawks for Life. Hello? Oh, maybe he's not here. All right. Seahawks for Life. Sorry. Missed your call there. All right. So before we jump into trivia, any last thoughts, guys, on what we talked about? Well, we were going to mention, I guess we can make a just quick observation point on it. But, I'm sure you guys all heard on the news about the Tiger Woods accident yesterday. Rolled his car over on the way. I believe he was going to a photo shoot, maybe running a little bit behind. Ended up swerving into the opposite lane, hit a sign off the road, rolled it a few times, and it's fortunate that he only suffered a couple of. They were bad leg injuries. Apparently, he had to go to surgery, get that fixed up with a lot of rods and things put into his leg to reconstruct it. But unfortunate situation, but it could have been a lot worse. So I think he's lucky that he's other than his leg injuries, he came out of that without a threat to his life. But you guys thoughts on that as far as when you first heard the news and your reactions? Start with haven't heard from Steezy in a while. Steezy, what was your reaction when you heard about the news about Tiger Woods?
I was just hoping that he didn't pass away. I mean, because, obviously the last time we saw such a horrific accident / crash was when, the late great Kobe Bryant passed away, and something like that definitely affected me, because I don't know if I've, made this known before, but he was one of the reasons why I started watching NBA basketball. Just watching the Lakers teams from 2007 to 2010 make the NBA Finals every year. I grew up in a Lakers family. My dad, huge Lakers fan, huge Kobe fan. My brother, a lot of my other family members are all Lakers fans. And so he was one of the reasons that kind of drew me to the game. And the first ever column that I ever wrote, I dedicated to Kobe, and just how much of an impact, he had on my life. He still continues to have on my life. And so when I heard about this, I was just praying. I was hoping that it wasn't the same sort of situation. And I'm so, so glad to hear that, it's not life threatening. He did, come away with a compound leg fracture, which is a serious, serious injury. I mean, we don't know if, this could potentially end his career, maybe even alter his career if he does continue to decide to play golf. But, being that he's the GOAT of golf, and being that he's one of the most popular and best athletes in the history of sports, everybody definitely felt this, and so I definitely I was so glad to hear that he didn't pass away or anything like that. And I'm so glad that he's in stable condition and that nothing's life threatening. But my prayers are still definitely with Tiger Woods.
Yeah. How about you, Squabo? What was your reaction and thoughts about Tiger Woods?
Yeah, well, we talked about it on my show yesterday on KUGR, Wazoo Student Run radio station. It's just sad. It really shows us how vulnerable we all are. Because if that can happen to Tiger Woods, when the tragedy happened to Kobe Bryant on January 26, 2020, it made me feel so much more vulnerable, so much less invincible than before, so much less untouchable. If that can happen to them, anything can happen to us. And I think, if anything, that should make us more grateful. That should make us lucky. Anyone hearing this is above ground. Anyone hearing this is alive today, is taking breaths today. And even on your worst day, you live like someone on their best day. So let's just take this as an opportunity to be grateful, to not take every day for granted, to tell our loved ones that we love them before we leave them. The last thing you should say to a loved one before you leave is travel safe and I love you. And I think that's the lesson that we need to learn here more than anything. Let's not make this Tiger Woods car crash mean nothing. Let's learn from it, and let's tell our loved ones that we love them.
Yeah, well said, man. I mentioned before about my daughter getting her license this past weekend, and like I said, I had a moment. Maybe it was the combination of that story, in the back of my head as well. But it's just that feeling that it just takes one moment, that could change, anything, and that almost happened to Tiger Woods. My dad had a learned expression when he was on vacation, or when he was doing some charity work in Jamaica. He was with a Jamaican driver, and they were talking. He was just telling stories and stuff, and he had a powerful quote that he took from this experience with this driver. And the driver, I think, was just taking his time, just kind of a little laid back. But he had a quote, something that like, "It's better to lose 5 minutes of your life than to lose your life in 5 minutes." Or maybe it's better to lose 5 seconds of your life than to lose your life in 5 seconds. Meaning that, I don't know, we don't know yet the details of what exactly happened to Tiger Woods that day, but it's very possible maybe he was in a hurry. Maybe he was speeding a little bit faster than he should have because he needed to get to where he was going because he was late. And we've all been there, right? We've all been there where it's like, oh man, I got to go. And you're just a little bit more tense, a little bit more cutting the corners, probably, doing a few more things that you wouldn't normally do if you were just relaxing and not in a hurry. And, I think we've all been lucky that any one of us could have experienced a situation that could result into something, as bad as that or worse if we had some bad luck on that day. And he just had bad luck on that day. But I think the point being that statement, I've thought about that ever since my dad said that. I try to remember that. It's better to lose 5 seconds of your life than to lose your life in 5 seconds. In other words, it's just be careful. Take your time, because you're late for a few minutes. So what? The world's not going to end. But you could certainly end your world if you really, aren't careful about that. So great points there, Squabo, about just also appreciating what we have every day, and also protecting that which we got, because every day in life is precious. So, Nick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of wise words said to reflect on what happened. It's a tragedy, but I'm so glad that he's looking to make a full recovery. I heard on the news today that he got out of surgery well on his knee, I think he shattered, or his ankle, one of those. But yeah, it could have gone. Yeah, his ankle. But yeah, it just could have gone so much worse, and life is so, like you said, cherishable. And yeah, prayers up.
Coach Marsh, save the last words from you. And again, you and I are the old geezers here who have had a lot more tread on the tire worn out through our experiences in life. And I know you personally have had plenty that I know you're eventually going to reveal in your book. And you talk about understanding that which is precious of having life and second chances on things. What was your thoughts when you heard the news yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, because when you feel like your next breath might be your last, I mean, it is scary as heck. But then there's car situations, right, where you don't know it or what have you, and it's probably happening really fast. But the way I found out, I had someone had just texted me the words Tiger Woods ? That was it, and I was on a call, on a conference call, and so I just quickly did an internet search, and all I'm seeing is the quick video of the crash. And I gotta be honest, I started getting extremely choked up, more than I did, when Kobe, when we lost Kobe, it definitely, it hit me, but I didn't get overly emotional about it like a lot of other people did. I love Kobe Bryant, but Tiger, I think the difference for me was it immediately took me back. And here we go with the nostalgia piece after I just said what I said to you, but the era of the group that we had a chance to grow up with, right? With, from a Mike Tyson to a Michael Jordan, and then Serena Williams comes along later and does those things. And there's only those few times in life from a sports standpoint where you can get so caught up in what's happening that the emotions gravitate so much that tears are coming down your face. And I get choked up pretty easily at stuff. But I think back to that first time, when Tiger Woods won his first, his first Masters, and then, seeing those other sides, like every Sunday, you couldn't wait to just watch him play. Just like when Mike Tyson would fight, everybody knew and was in front of their TV when Mike Tyson would fight. Everybody was in front of their TV when Jordan had the famous layup against the Lakers. But Tiger's just seemed like he had so many of those. As great as Jordan is, it just seemed like Tiger was like the epitome of clutch and everything else. And so when something like that happens, and you feel like, man, like we almost lost that icon so close after just losing a great icon itself. His life's no more valuable than anybody else's. We all breathe the same air, right? We all breathe the same air. But it was right after Kobe died that I started my live life one play at a time mantra. I changed it from what I had been saying for 20 plus years to live life one play at a time the day that Kobe died. And then all of a sudden to see what Tiger went through, to be saying, yeah, thank goodness it was just his legs or what have you. He just means so much to, I think, a lot of people. Of course, he has the off-field issues, but we all have the skeletons. But I think that's as I look at it as my final point here is just, I've got a grandchild, and I've got another grandchild coming in the next 2 weeks, and I look at everybody and connect with everybody. That's why I don't get rattled much at all anymore, because I just look at things like, man, it is so precious. Friendships are so precious. Who you talk to, and we sit there and say, don't go so fast and slow down on things. Hey, I'm here to tell you, don't go so fast. Slow down on things, and tell people you love them. Like, I love you. I care about you. And I'm not talking through a text or through, like, call someone and say, I love you. Because I'm not afraid to say it. And you know me, Norb. I said it to my players all the time. Because I wanted, at least they could hear it from somebody. Man, and so for Tiger Woods and his family, I hope he's going to be okay and get healthy, and maybe he'll be an analyst for us or what have you. But yeah, scary stuff when that happens. And all your guys' words, it's so awesome to hear from all the way from Nick LeBeau to Steezy, Squabble to you, Norb. That's what makes the show fun, is just hearing the generational thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is really powerful. And I think about what Tiger Woods brought to the sport. I mean, if you talk about Kobe and Michael Jordan, all the great players, he really, in a sport that race was really something that changed because of him. Because there have always been that, Jackie Robinson, those players who changed not just the game because of how they played, but because of who they were. The sport was different before they came along, and Tiger Woods definitely represented a generational change to where suddenly golf was accessible to people who weren't necessarily elite, rich people who went to country clubs. That was kind of how it seemed to be before then. And all of a sudden, wow, there's a African American player. Maybe I could play that sport if he's doing it, And so you think about that impact when he first started playing and how huge that was. It seems like a long time ago now because it's been so long since he was just starting up in the game, and now he's more on the older side of things. But
Right.
but yeah,
And I do wish we would reflect on that a little bit more because I know, we kind of rip on NBA players, and I get involved in some of those things because I think sometimes we go over the top with certain stuff because we don't know where the balance is in this new world order, so to speak, right? Like everything is brand new, all the platforms, how we're dealing with the social justice, everything else. But if you go back, you got Muhammad Ali, who came at things from just this boisterous, get after it because that's who he was as a boxer. And people got on Tiger Woods because he wasn't saying stuff out loud to certain things. And people forget the dude walked into the Masters, the Masters, right? The title of the game itself and the course and the history of all that took place. And he played on it as an African-American man and won and dominated and changed the landscape of that sport for, like you said, so many people in a time that we needed it. So,
Yeah.
we need to reflect on those times when we look at someone and say, gosh, he didn't speak up. They said about Jordan too. Why doesn't he speak up about things? Well, when Jordan came into the league, transformed an entire league. So let's not jump on him for being quiet. So it's just there's icons and then there's icons, and Tiger Woods is on the Mount Rushmore of that 80s and 90s. Who made a real difference?
And again, just like how the sport changed, there were places that wouldn't even allow Tiger Woods to play there, right?
To play,
it was like he was not allowed because of how he looked. He was not allowed in some of these courses in the early days. That's how much it has changed so much since then, because that was such a radical switch when he finally came along and opened the doors for so many more that could follow in his footsteps. So.
And he was the first LeBron. Everybody thinks that LeBron James was really kind of this first young person, anointed, going on, and Mike Tyson. He was 19, and he wasn't even until he was 21 that people really got to know him and such. But you go back to what Tiger did. He was 5 years old when he was on the Johnny Carson show. Now I'm dating myself quite a bit, but he's 5 years old on the Johnny Carson show. So talk about expectations. His dad gets him on there, somehow, some way, and now here's this protege, and he outdid what his dad was saying he was going to do as a 5-year-old. Like, to do that and overcome the social injustice that he was experiencing and people were experiencing. And again, people that are older than us would go back to Muhammad Ali, and people older than that would go back to Jackie Robinson. Right. I mean, that's, we need those. And now with the platforms that are out there now, it's interesting to see how society, sees things. Because of course, Tiger Woods has those negative things on his, in his background and such. But you know what? If we were all just under the microscope as much as these guys are all the time, we don't have our fallacies be shown out there too, right? So that's why I can put some of those aside and go, man,
right.
Got to change the landscape a lot of things.
Yeah. No, there's nobody's perfect.
Not aside. I want to be careful. I don't want to say aside like what he did was okay, because it's not, right? We know what Kobe did. We know some of those other things. But when you look at just the totality of the life of what someone does, if I'm just focusing on the wins that he had in life and the wins that he had on the course, man, hard to say there's too many others that can really beat what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What he's doing.
All right. Well, we can only hope that he can recover from this. And I hear different predictions as to whether that he'll never play golf again, or maybe if he does, he can come back and be the greatest to come back, as a comeback story. Because if Alex Smith could come back from his leg injury and play again, well, maybe Tiger Woods too can. But I guess too early to say right now. But
well, on the quick, Steezy and Squabbo, is there an athlete right now that you can, because you guys are really focused more towards this generation, that if they retired, got hurt, whatever, left the sport would drop as significantly as it did, and you guys probably weren't as into it as Norb and I might have been. Like when Tiger Woods left, or had all the issues that took place, like nobody wanted to really watch golf anymore unless they were like a true avid golfer. Like I stopped watching golf. My buddy stopped watching golf. We stopped hanging out on Sundays to go watch golf on a Sunday all day long, like it was an NFL Sunday. Is there an athlete out there that you could think of in a sport that if they left could have even on par or close to the significant impact? Off the top of your head, which I know
there is one.
Any
Harry
sport.
Potter with Quidditch. Harry Potter and Quidditch. If Harry Potter left Quidditch, no one's catching the snitch, and Gryffindor would never win anything. But outside of him, I think Tiger Woods stands alone.
Yeah.
I think so as well, just because in all these other sports, there's so many athletes today. I mean, in the NBA, I would say Braun, but then there's KD, there's Steph, there's Giannis, there's Luka Doncic. You know, there's so much parity.
Yeah.
Like I told you, Coach. And in the NFL, I would say Tom Brady, but then there's Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, all these guys. In baseball, there's Mike Trout, but there's also a whole bunch of other stars.
I get my question is, and I mean, we could start a whole new show right now and just keep talking on this, but does viewership, and I know we got to get to the trivia. First off, Seahawks Martin, you nailed it because Pele is definitely one of the 4 GOATs of all time in my book. If I completed a 4, Pele is one of the 4 for sure that's going to go up there. But that said, going back to what you said, Steezy, is there a player that if they leave, viewership goes in any sport? Right.
Maybe soccer. If Messi or Ronaldo, once they retire, I think, soccer, it's a global sport. It's the number one sport in the world. So if those two were to retire or something were to happen to them, I think the viewership with soccer would maybe not go down significally, but just a little bit because basketball is starting to close in. It's so global.
Serena?
Yeah, basketball's starting to close in.
Yeah.
Serena for tennis.
Yeah. Because I watched
but
tennis.
There is someone in the wings
with
Naomi Osaka, and she's pretty good.
Yeah.
So tune in at 10 o'clock tonight when we start a new topic of greatest of all time. All
we will definitely have to get it. There's plenty of non-Seahawks stuff we could talk about, but we'll save that for another time here since I know a lot of people.
That'll be on Coach for Life. Coach for Life's coming up with a bunch of topics tonight. Let me know.
Yeah, man, write it down. Write it down.
About greatest of
lots
the last
to talk about.
Years of athletics in civilization. Yeah. You got it.
No, this has been good. We almost forgot to talk about the Tiger Woods aspect and actually opened up a whole nother discussion from it. So anyway, lots of prayers, man. Hopefully he can come back from this and be okay. But it's gonna be a long road. So at least he's still with us, and at least that's a good thing. All right. Any last thoughts before we move to trivia, guys? It's Cameron Hughes. Cameron Hughes again. Just keeps sending me great trivia, and I can't deny it. He's just on it. So my only critique to Cameron Hughes is, will you put question marks after your questions? Because for some reason you leave out the punctuation at the end. I have to go in there and put question marks after each one. It's like, it's a question. Put the question mark. Otherwise, it's great stuff. So you guys will find out soon enough here. He had a pretty tough one last time. So this will be a good one. So you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, can Cameron Hughes play? Like, can he win the game?
No. He can't play his own trivia. That'd be pretty amazing if he did his own trivia and got beat by somebody. That would be.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past Rishi. I don't think Rishi could do it.
That's true, man. He gives everybody a run for the money. Okay, let's do it. So it's trivia time, and we are talking Kahoot app, Kahoot.com. Thank you again, Cameron Hughes, for the trivia contest. And here's the best part of the show. We get to read off all the names that people come up with. Please keep them clean. I hate to have to kick somebody out. So keep them clean here, and let's have some fun. Here we go. The code coming up right now. Get ready. The code is 778-2800. 778.
You saying Scrabble gets a
2800. 778-2800. We got NORBFAM Nation, Casey Sportsnerd, Andrew P. 778-2800. John Rick 453. Actually, Nick. Scoj. Big Ben is. I almost thought it was something else. No one. Bebo Seahawks. Rain City. Up. Seahawks 2021. Don't Trade Russ. Def Leppard. Fetus Deletus. Def Leppard. Go Pack Go. Coach's Armpit. Gun. Oh, there it goes. The never. Nice. I got the gunna. Nice. Never gonna. Check. No way you stop DK. Toe Jam. Yeah, Mike's Oxmall. Squab's Only Fans. Schmurda. Jones Better. Are you? You. There's the you. Never gonna give. Wait, yeah, never going to give you. Hi. Neckbeard Noah. Schmilligard.
Neckbeard Noah.
Whoa. We're getting rated here.
Someone botted us.
Somebody botted this thing.
Come on, guys.
Come on, man. BBQ chicken.
Jeez. Nick LeBeau, do I have to give the same talk I gave in the last show?
You might
I hate
have
when
to.
people do that.
Some people, don't have better things to do.
Whoa, jeez.
It's John Cena.
Oh man, we got tons of them in here. We got botted big time. 125. Half of them are bots.
Yeah, definitely.
What's awesome is they get to go to bed going, I botted Norb. Like,
Oh my gosh, it's insane, man. It's just 177. Yeah, really.
It's a wow.
All right, I think it's time to cut this off. Okay.
The good thing is Nick LeBeau knows I have the
Oh yeah, Coach Marsh
be able to
has
find someone
friends.
easily. So
All right,
I
we're just
can
gonna cut
locate
it
who
off
that
right
person is
there. We're gonna cut it off right there.
and where they live.
All right, here we go. Trivia time. Let's go.
That would suck if a bot won.
All right, who was the only Seahawks cornerback to not have an interception the entire 2013 season, minimum 15 games played? Chris Maragos, Jeremy Lane, Walter Thurmond, or Brandon Browner? Who was the only Seahawks cornerback to not have an interception the entire 2013 season, minimum 15 games played? Chris Maragos, Jeremy Lane, Walter Thurmond, or Brandon Browner? Time is up. Ooh. Correct answer is Jeremy Lane. 10 of you guys got that correct answer. Let's go to the scoreboard here. Starting with Steez Master. Steezy.
I said Jeremy Lane. Chris Maragos, he was a safety. And with Jeremy Lane, he just got drafted, or I think that was his first year because he was drafted in 2012. And so at that point in his career, he was primarily special teams.
All right. So, point for Steezy. Let's go to Squabo.
Well, I didn't start off so hot. Lane's a guy that he's gotten picks before. Thurman's got picks before. Browner's got picks. I can't remember Maragos getting no picks. So I said Maragos, even though he was more of a special team guy too. Like, and that's why I was thinking Maragos because I can't remember him getting a pick, whereas I can remember all the other three.
Okay.
Not necessarily that year, but I can remember Lane getting interceptions.
All right. So, sorry, I was distracted. So you got this right?
No,
you did not get this right. Sorry. All right. I was trying to work out a little issue here. So Squabo's on the board. Let's go to Nick.
Well, one, I knew Maragos wasn't even a cornerback. However, I did not take the right answer out of the three. I said Brandon Browner. I don't know why, but I did.
Brandon Browner, you mostly remember him from knocking guys over and yanking them and plowing them into the ground and not getting flags thrown on them somehow. But love that part, though. All right, Coach Marsh.
Yeah, afterwards I had remembered that Maragos was not a corner, but sometimes I quickly go into my Rolodex of Steve Rabel calls and I try to think like who are the names that he belts out with excitement. I just can never remember him ever calling out Maragos' name, so I got it wrong because that's it. Because I've heard him say the other names, I just couldn't recall which specific year. So
okay, so Steezy with the only correct answer. Let's go to the scoreboard.
Oh, stop!
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Never gonna give you.
This could never have been planned. Never gonna give you up. Is
Dude, you gotta get a screenshot of that one, man. You gotta get it in the annals of history of NorbCam shows. Like this is gonna be a Mount Rushmore moment. You gotta get a screenshot of that one.
Well, I mean, it's on the video. It's right there. It's for the proof, and there's in the pudding.
That is too funny.
Never gonna give you
gotta send
up.
it into Kahoot. You gotta send that into Kahoot. Maybe they'll sponsor you or something like that. This is too quality, man.
Oh man, that is crazy.
Wow.
How is that even possible? I mean, the only way, even if you had 5 people playing and they all played the 5 words, the chances of it landing in that order, unless you coordinated your attack, that's amazing. And some of these are only not even 10 points apart. I mean, look at the score. The score is only 11 points. 11 points. 11 points. 12
you guys don't
points.
realize, Norb has a little transition that has that on there, so he floated that in quickly, and we didn't realize it. So that's actually a made-up screen that Norb put in there, so he could sing "Never Gonna Give You Up." He just wanted to be able to sing it.
That would be the lamest guy in the world if I actually staged this.
Yes, you would.
I would not be able to live with myself if I were to celebrate this as a fake thing. I didn't even think about this today. It just happened. No, I couldn't plan this out. That is amazing. That is crazy. I'm actually more preoccupied with the fact that for some reason I can't get the audio of the Kahoot going in here. But oh well, that's just how it goes. So we'll continue with the scoreboard. The game must go on. Here we go. Next, let's see what next question. Number 2. The Seahawks had 2 first-round picks in the 2001 NFL Draft. One was Steve Hutchinson. Who was the other? Jeremy Stevens, Laurent Robinson, Sean Alexander, or Corn Robinson? Seahawks had 2 first-round picks in the 2001 NFL Draft. One was Hutchinson. Who was the other? Jeremy Stevens, Laurent Robinson, Sean Alexander, or Corn Robinson? Time is up. 13 got the correct answer of Corn Robinson. Corn Robinson. That was an interesting dude. Isn't he the guy who owned a dolphin? I think he owned a dolphin.
I think so.
It was one of the things, like one of those unique things about a player. He owned a dolphin. I don't know where he kept the thing. I think he owned a dolphin. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. Wow. So Corn Robinson, the correct answer. Let's go to the panel. It's easy.
I didn't even know it was possible to own a dolphin, because if that's the case, that'll be me one day. I love dolphins.
Yes, sir. Somebody hasn't watched Jim Carrey movies then.
Like, if I wasn't a Seahawks fan, I'd actually be a Dolphins fan. But anyway, I got it wrong. I said Jeremy Stevens. I honestly had no clue. I was thinking Sean Alexander for a little bit, but then I was like, I think he was drafted in 2000. So I
think you might be right about that. Let's go to Squabo. Cast the tie.
So I have no idea. And I looked at the board and there were 2 guys with the same last name. And that's Laurent Robinson and Corn Robinson. So I was like, considering I have no idea, I'm going to go with one of them. I've heard of the other 2, to be honest. Have not heard of those 2. So I went with the name even less familiar. And I went with the name that sounded like it could be either gender. Corn Robinson, and it worked somehow. So, yeah,
got that right. All right, the name's the same trick worked and got it into his favor. All right, so Squabo's on the board.
For the record, I'm so sorry, but for the record, I really wish this logic worked on real teachers. Like it works on a bunch of 13-year-olds sitting in the Zoo professors, unfortunately.
I thought it did work last time. You said you had some good luck with it.
With the true false, I think. Yeah, you said that last time. On one quiz, but it's not a consistent thing. I can't just go to as a principal, as for everyone that's in school, I have learned this year that I cannot go into tests without studying. That's the big takeaway. You can't just BS them.
Man, that is a good life lesson to give to these followers. Study before you take a test. I like it.
What
good idea. Wait, this isn't breaking news.
Got something.
This isn't breaking news.
Steezy's breaking something.
Yeah, this isn't breaking news or anything, but so my brother, he works at a barbershop, Kingdom Barbershop in Kent, and he said that Russell Wilson just left Kingdom Barbershop and he was just there.
What?
Yeah.
Where your brother works? Your brother
I gotta
works?
be honest with you. When you just said he just left for that brief second,
I know. Heart stopped.
Like I was like sitting. I'm like, oh, he left the barber shop. I thought
I had the same reaction.
My brother left it, and he just left the. Oh, okay. But there was that. Did you feel that? Like just a brief little.
Oh, I did. When you said, my brain wasn't ready for it because he said this isn't breaking news or anything. Obviously, Russell Wilson leaving would be the biggest breaking news. He goes, this is not breaking news or anything, but Russell Wilson just left.
Yeah.
What?
No, I think one of my brother's coworkers just gave him a haircut.
It's too funny.
Did your brother cut his hair, or is he just in the building?
No, but my brother has cut a few former Seahawks players.
Really? Wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your brother does do some pretty nice cuts. Not a sponsor, but shout out.
Blaze Mozzarella on Instagram. Thanks.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, barbers are the real deal, man. When somebody finds the right barber, man, they'll drive everywhere to do it. Especially when it comes to athletes. Man, I drove
that's true. That's trust factor.
To get my hair cut from my barber for like 10 years because he was part of my superstitious success that was taking place. I'm like, I'm not changing my barber. But I know when Seahawks and those guys find a barber, man, like they all will flock to the same guy or girl, whoever's.
That's wild. All right. Well, that's cool. no photos. No
So
photos.
he's
I'm
not
guessing.
left the Seahawks.
Yeah,
he's not left the Seahawks. Is what you're saying?
No.
He's in
I hope
Kent.
not. I pray he's in Kent. So
Someone's video just cut off right after you said he left, and then it froze. Like, what if you froze at that moment?
That's how rumors get started.
That would be ironic.
All right, let's continue here. I can't remember where we left off. Was it Nick? Were we with you?
Yeah. So, I've played enough of Cameron Hughes trivia because he hosts trivia, or he has his trivia every other week to know that he wouldn't go 2 questions in a row with the right answer being in the known players category. And also another thing on top of that, you don't put 2 people with the same last name if it's not going to be in that answer most of the time. And I had a decision between Laurent or Corin. And my luck was with me. I took Corin Green.
All right, the Dolphin owner. You went with it.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a tie game. Coach Marsh, in a rare behind position here early in the first quarter, needed to get some points on the board. Coach, what do you say?
Yeah. Well, just because I remember Corn and Holmgren just constantly getting on each other. So I did get this correct. But the bigger thing here, and this isn't breaking news, is to Nick LeBeau's parents, I honestly think your son might be the first ever 5.0 GPA kid by the time he's done with high school. So just know that that's coming. Get ready to celebrate it with him because he's gonna.
I don't know about that.
Just the way,
Literally.
yeah, seriously, it is very impressive to listen to how you break things down. Even how you break things down with your answers. Pretty solid stuff. I'm going to consider. You should come on my show sometime. Yeah, I got it right.
Once in a
All
while.
right. No, I agree. That's I said that in the beginning that the intelligence factor of so many of these guys, you especially Nick, embodies that is very impressive. So.
Thank you guys.
Now we got an even score here, so everybody's pretty smart when it comes to trivia. Let's see how the YouTube scoreboard is. And something tells me never going to give you up. It would be like if that was a rare chance to have never going to give you up one time. No chance. Lightning strikes twice. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. Unless Rishi's controlling all.
Oh, there he goes. Well, Never Gonna still in there. So John Rick 453, who was in the call earlier, zips up to number 1. High 8 and second. Rain, aka Rickson, is at 3rd, and then Never Gonna.
Oh, that's a different Rain.
Bring it up to 4th and 5th.
That's a different Rain.
All right. Next question.
Looks like a bot got into the
former Seahawks DB coach Chris Richard was a former draft pick in 2002. What round was he drafted in? 3rd, 5th, 7th, or 1st? Former DB coach Chris Richard, former draft pick in 2002. What round was he drafted in? 3rd, 5th, 7th, or 1st? 3rd, 5th, 7th, or 1st? Time is up. Pretty good, YouTube. 3rd round pick. 11 of you got this correct. Let's go to the panel. Steezy, drafts are normally your expertise, but I heard a grunt from you, which tells me it wasn't breaking news about another barbershop. Did you get this one?
Unfortunately, not this one. Not this time around. I was stuck between the 3rd round and the 5th round, just because I feel like I would know. I feel like we'd all know if he was a 1st rounder.
Yeah.
Same with being a 7th rounder. And so I crossed those 2 off, and I ended up going with the 5th round. And I got it wrong.
Well, 50-50. Didn't quite get it. Normally, you're the whiz. Usually, you rattle off draft picks. Of course, this was 2002, so we're going back a little ways. Let's go to Squabs. Squabo, a chance to take the lead. What do you got?
The wrong answer. I said 5th as well. I had no idea, so I said C.
We're going back, not quite the prehistoric times, Coach Marsh, but getting a little bit before these guys' times. Nick LeBeau, though, youngest one of the group.
Well, usually when it comes to number-wise, it's usually somewhere in the middle. I did, unfortunately, go with the 5th round pick. Now I know next time.
Okay. Coach Marsh, this is closer to your era than it is to these guys.
It's close, but it's more paleontolic or whatever it is era. It's not prehistoric, which is 1999 and backwards. Right. So like the other two that are kind of in that college age area, I also went for a 5th.
Man, Cameron Hughes picked some tough questions, man. He's a tough cookie to crack. So no points on that one. Still tied up in 1. Let's go to the scoreboard for YouTube. John Rick 453 knocks all of the Rick Astley Rick rolls off there. John Rick 453 at first place. NorbFam Nation up to second. Don't Trade Russ to third. Sky High Aviation to fourth, and Mike Oxmall at fifth place.
Yeah, be careful how you're saying that. Let's get him off the screen or kick him out or something.
Oh, is that one of those?
Just keep on going. No, you're running the show, so I don't expect you to read it.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
I'm not even catching what I'm reading here.
No. You don't want to catch.
You don't want to catch it.
Yeah.
I should just boot this.
There's another mic that used to show the bars
this?
back in the day that we used to talk about.
Should we just boot this guy?
Very similar.
Should I just boot it?
No, you should definitely.
All right.
Definitely. 100%.
That is barbecue
Well,
sea chicken.
congratulations to...
Barbecue sea chicken comes in.
Yeah.
There's a quick super chat in here. Stephen Dre says extend Russ adds 14 million to the cap. Extend Dunlap adds 10 million. Extend Jamal adds 7 million. Trade Reed for draft capital saves us 9 million for cap, 40 million total. Okay.
Russ is actually 12.
Did Schneider just sneak into the show here?
Right.
Yeah, under an alias.
Right. Also, Bobby for 6.
A good point.
And Lockett for like a few
5
million. 5, yeah.
I'm still catching up at the beginning of that one.
Yeah, a lot of cap flexibility this year.
All right, let's keep the show rolling here. Next question. True or false? The Seahawks acquired Leon Washington via trade in 2010. True or false? The Seahawks acquired Leon Washington via trade in 2010. True or false? Lots of time to think about it. And time's up. Almost a 50-50 split. But in this case, the ones who picked true are correct. 17 of you guys got that one correct out of the YouTube world. Let's go to the panel here, struggling early with this tough trivia by Cameron Hughes. Steezy.
I wasn't sure, but I ended up going with true just because I knew that in 2010 when John Schneider and Pete Carroll took over, they made a flurry of moves. And so I kind of just assumed that maybe trading for Washington was one of them. So I said true.
Right. Good logic. That's the lead for the time being. Squabo.
See, I thought I remembered Leon coming in via trade in 2010. I can't remember what team. Was it the Jets, maybe?
It was the Jets.
Good memory.
Also, last week, though, all the true falses were false, and Marsh was gone. Marsh is back. His principles apply.
English teacher principal. English teacher principal is back, in fact.
So you did pick true.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, you got picked true and you got it. So, okay. 2 good points right there. Nick, you seem to know the team. You must have knew the answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Pretty easy there. Coach Marsh.
Yep. Keep it simple. We'll keep it moving along for the crowd here.
Keep it moving along. All right.
Oh, I like it. Someone actually he chose a bunch of prehistoric questions. See, now we're actually using the phrase. I got to get that thing phrase. I got to get that coined.
All right, so the scoreboard, we got John Rick still with a sizable lead at the number 1 spot. NorbFam Nation at second. High in third. Barbecue Sea Chicken in fourth. And Steph Curry gets onto the top 5 at number 5. Next question. True or false again? Will Dissly has over 1,000 receiving yards as a Seahawk. True or false? Will Dissly has over 1,000 receiving yards as a Seahawk. True or false?
People are Googling like crazy on this one.
This one wouldn't be as hard to Google.
Yeah. He's probably just on either side of the 1,000 barrier.
All right, there we go. Less than a K. 17 of you picked false and got the correct answer. Let's go to the panel with Steezy.
I said false. He had 251 last year, and then the 2 years prior to that, they were both lost to season-ending injuries. So I said false.
All right, and he gets it right with the lead. Squabo.
Yeah, and I said this is falsified information. I know for a fact he ain't never had no 1,000 yards, even cumulative throughout his career, unfortunately because of the injuries. I believe he definitely has the potential, but I know for a fact that he didn't. So I said false.
Okay. That's a point for you. So all of a sudden the points are racking up here. Nick LeBeau.
Yeah, just looking at his injury history, how much he's been on the field, I said false.
All right. 3 for 3. Can we make it 4?
Yes, you can, even though I usually don't go against the grain, but if I know the factual answer, then I have to go against the grain. So yes. Okay.
All right.
Correct.
4 in a row makes it a 4-way tie at 3. Let's go to the scoreboard and see I think we're going to see John Rick at top, and he is. John Rick 453 at top. NORBFAM Nation second. High also in third, but don't trade Russ. Back on the podium at number 4, and Barbecue Seek Chicken drops to 5th. Next question.
Was John Rick who we talked to earlier?
Yes, it was. Who became the Seahawks' first 1,000-yard rusher in 1983? Theodis Brown, Dan Dornick, Sherman Smith, or Kurt Warner? Who became the Seahawks' first 1,000-yard rusher in 1983? Theodis Brown, Dan Dornick, Sherman Smith, or Kurt Warner? This is pre-Storhawk days right here. Time is up.
Yep.
That's one of the easier ones if you're from the pre-Storhawk times. Kurt Warner, and not the guy who's an analyst and former quarterback for the Cardinals. I'm talking our Kurt Warner. 16 of you guys got this one correct. Majority of you. Let's go to the panel and see how well you know the prehistoric times. Steezy.
The only name that looked familiar to me was Kurt Warner, so I went with that.
All right. Good guess. Good take. Squabo.
That's based on another Kurt Warner.
That's Kurt with a K.
The St. Louis Rams, K. Kurt Warner.
Oh, yeah. No, just writing trivias. I remember Kurt Warner's name popped up a lot. I know Sherman Smith a lot thanks to Coach Marsh, but Kurt Warner was the answer that came to mind, so I said Kurt.
Okay. So we got another one there. Hold on a second. I've got somebody at the door. Hang on, it might be my daughter. Hold tight. You guys talk about something. I'll be right back.
Well, he does that. I'm going to the bathroom.
Well, everybody's breaking up, doing their thing. What's cool is how Norb just disappears like that. Like he just leaves into the cube of emptiness there.
Yeah.
Nick, do you know anything about any of these prehistoric guys other than do you know anything about Dan Dornick? Does that name even ring a bell?
All right, back to
volleyball practice.
I know Elena
All
knows what his nickname was. What was his nickname because of what he actually did in real life? Dan Dornick for the super chat crowd while Norb gets ready. What was Dan Dornick's nickname because it was what he was aspiring to be and became while he was an NFL player? They called him blank Dan Dornick.
Everyone's Googling.
I know what it is.
They're all looking.
I didn't even catch the discussion earlier.
Who is Dr. Dan Dornick? So if you guys can figure out what Dr. Dan Dornick's nickname is, it's kind of like who's buried in Grant's tomb. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Yeah. All right. You may figure it out in the super chat who Dr. Dan Dornick, what his profession was.
There it is. All right. So we are. Let's see. We are Nick now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
and
Nick.
yes, I did get it right. I chose the real Kurt Warner, not that imposter that's now on NFL Network.
Okay, so that's 4 points for you.
That's right.
Let's go to Coach Marsh. Well, you already know this, I'm sure.
Dr. Dan Dornick, and I knew Elena Dahl would get it, also known as Mr. Third Down, because he's famous for a tremendous play that I'll bring in later, probably in the summertime when I get to it. And Sherman was with the San Diego Chargers in his final year at 83. Theodis Brown definitely was not the guy. So Kurt Warner, coming off his rookie year, he'd been one of the all-time greats had he not torn his knee on that brutal turf on that 3-yard sweep towards the end zone.
All right. So Squabo's back. We'll go to the YouTube scoreboard. See where we lie here. Oh, my goodness. John Rick drops a big jump down to third place. So High goes high at number 1. NorbFam Nation stays solid at second. John Rick drops to third. Steph Curry up to fourth. And Barbecue Sea Chicken hanging on at fifth. We got a tight game here. Less than 1,000 points separates the top from the bottom. Next question. Number 7. How many of the 11 picks from the 2019 draft are still with the Seahawks, including the practice squad? 9, 8, 11, or 10? How many of the 11 picks from the 2019 draft are still with the Seahawks, including practice squad? 9, 8, 11, or 10? Time is up. There you go. The answer is 10. Only 4 on YouTube got this one correct. I had no idea about this one. Let's go to the panel. Steezy, again, the draft expert. Let's see, did you get this one? Steezy.
I actually didn't turn to that, though. I kind of just guessed, and I happened to guess right. I said 10.
All right. Went with the second to highest answer. It paid off. 5 points in the lead for Steezy. Squabo.
Yeah, like when you left to get your door, I went to pee, and when I came back, the wrong screen was up, and so I kind of misheard the question, and I looked at it, and I guessed last second and said 8, and got it wrong.
Oh man, I hate when your pee messes up your screen. Nick.
Oh, the time wouldn't have helped though. I had no idea.
Nick.
No, I was kind of backtracking quickly through the draft, and I knew that Gary Jennings was the only one who didn't make it.
That was the hard. I mean, that's a lot of names to try to process in a short amount of time. So Nick, you did not get that one.
No, I did.
Oh, you did get that one. Oh, I thought you said you didn't.
Of course,
you did get that one. Oh, okay.
That one.
Sorry, but still, I'm impressive with a short amount of time. You figured it out, Coach Marsh.
Yeah, because Nick can process that quickly, and my brain can't. So I was off a number, so I missed it. And at the same time, Norb, I do want to say that I have connected already with my buddy, and Nick LeBeau will confirm this, who is a bot expert and can track IP addresses to the point where they're located, not IP-wise only, but also vicinity-wise. So High is a bot, a bot creator who was also kicked off earlier. So Mr. High bot at the top of the list, or if he's still there, we can send him out. But he's also being traced to where exactly he's located physical.
Okay,
so you might want to keep
as well as IP
game.
address.
So wait, let me get this straight. So you're saying the
High is not the send him out.
High is not a legit player.
Correct.
No.
Okay, so we'll delete High when we get back to the scoreboard. Okay, all right.
You've already confirmed that he's a previous guy that you kicked out.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Just reach out back in.
Thanks for letting me know. We'll have a APB on High. Okay, high alert on High. All right, next, let's check the scoreboard. Oh, and there's High. Okay, bye-bye, High.
Second place.
Well, sorry, High. Cheating don't get you nowhere. Bye-bye. All right, so with that, NorbFam Nation goes to the top. John Rick 453 back up now to second place. Steph Curry at third. Barbecue Sea Chicken in fourth. Give you up. Back into the game at fifth. Tough round. 3 players lost their answer streak of 4. So here we go. Continuing down the line. Number 8, getting close to the stretch here. Which of these Seahawks 2015 NFL draft picks are still playing in the NFL currently? Ryan Murphy, Christian Sokoli, Obum Gwacham, or Ty Smith? Which of these Seahawks 2015 NFL draft picks are still playing? Ryan Murphy, Christian Sokoli, Obum Gwacham, or Ty Smith? A couple tricky names in there to pronounce. Time is up. Oh, look at that. YouTube's on top of it. Ty Smith. 13 of you guys got that one correct. Ty Smith, the correct answer. Let's go to Steezy.
Once again, I kind of just had to guess, and I said Ty Smith. It was just a common name, and I looked at it, and I was like, looks about right.
All right. Well, it's paying off right now. You're in the lead with 6 points. Squabo.
Man, I gotta stop out thinking the room. I was looking at the crazy names. I was like, it's always one of the crazy names. I was like, I went with the coolest one to me, Obum Gwacham.
That is a cool name.
Yeah.
Obum Gwacham. It's just
What page of the Squabble book is that in terms of theories? Like, just go with the cool name on the quiz.
Hey, it worked.
It worked a couple times.
Yeah, of course, all the theories work at some point. I love it.
That's like the 75% of the time it true works, right? Except 75% it didn't work last time. 100% of the time it didn't work at 1.2.
Well, 100% of the time it works when you guess it right during the 70% of the time that you're trying to get to work.
Correlation versus causation. I love it. Nick LeBeau. Chance to keep pace with Steezy.
Mine was the same logic as Steezy, except I went with Ryan Murphy.
So he got rid of the weird names. He picked the wrong easy name. So he stays at 5 points. So Steezy with the lead and will maintain that lead even with Coach Marsh, but he can close up the gap. Coach Marsh.
No, I went with the one whose parents were not creative with the name also. So I went with Ryan Murphy.
Oh, again, following Nick's path here. So we got Steezy in the lead. Nick with 5 at second place, and Squabo and Coach Marsh with 4 tied in
I thought
third
Murphy
place.
was still playing. I actually thought he was still playing for sure.
Where's Ty Smith? Where's Ty Smith? Anybody know that?
Smith.
I don't know where Ty Smith is at. Name I haven't heard in a while. Well, somebody will come up with it. Titans. Okay.
Tennessee Titans.
Oh, I think that's correct.
All right, let's go to the scoreboard. Whoa, big changes down there. NorbFAM Nation in first, and Give You Up is in second. DSMJR88 in third. John Rick 453 drops to fourth, and Steph Curry down to fifth. Next question.
Steph Curry.
Number 9. By how many points were the Seahawks down by in their largest comeback in franchise history? 31, 23, 20, or 21? By how many points were the Seahawks down by in their largest comeback in franchise history? 31, 23, 20, or 21? Time is up. There you go. 14 correct answers. 21 is the correct answer there. Let's go to the panel. Steezy.
Squad, but I think you might have jinxed this for me, but I finally got it wrong guessing. I said 23. But it was just a complete guess because I had no clue.
So, Steezy's hot streak comes to an end, opening the door for the other members to catch up here. Squabo. Get within 1.
I apologize, brother. I'll keep my butt out the chat for you. But no, I knew this for a fact. I remember this game was one of my favorite Seahawks games of all time. We were down 21-0, and it was the game that started Norb Cam's career practically with the live reaction. So I got this one right.
Okay, all right. A very momentous game right there. Nick?
Wait, against the Packers?
Against Tampa.
No, Tampa Bay.
Oh.
Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl
Mike
season.
Glennon, was it?
I think Mike Glennon, yeah. Mike Glennon threw a jump pass at one point. I was like, are you kidding me? Might have been the play that put them up by that score. Yeah. Thinking, this is the Super Bowl team and lose to a winless Bucks team? How is that going to happen? Boy, how things have changed 8 years later or 7 years later.
Yeah.
All right, so Nick.
Yeah, no, I'll always remember that Tampa Bay game where we were down 21. And yeah, I got it right.
All right. So
he was watching it from his high chair.
Totally.
Well, let me see. He's 13 now, right? So minus 8. So you would have been 5. You've been in kindergarten.
He had his Seahawks bib on, Seahawks pacifier.
Yeah.
Seahawks onesie.
Yeah.
Well, I think if he's kindergarten, you've been kindergarten, right? You were 5.
So yeah.
He's eating Hawkos for breakfast.
You were maybe out of the high chair at that point. That's awesome. All right, so Nick ties up the race and it gets tighter at 6 points. So Coach Marsh got to keep up. What you got?
Yeah, so here's this classic. The final game, one of the final games you ever filmed, the quarterback's dad, who I won't say, I went to a Sweet 16 game in Seattle with him during the same time, and a team was down by 28 points, and I left with 7 minutes to go, and the team came back, and I said, I'll never do that again. I go to the Seahawks game, this game with the same dad, the only 2 sporting events I ever went to, the only 2 times I've ever in my life left a game. Yogi Berra'd it, right? Like the game's not over till it's over.
Oh my gosh.
The only 2 times ever. And I'm crossing the I-90 bridge and it's happened. I'm like, you're kidding. Like, this can't happen. He called me and just ripped me a new one. Like, how could you do that? How could you do it? Yeah. So I definitely knew that one because I didn't watch it because I left like an idiot. So I never left.
God, that's crazy. That it was the same dad.
The likelihood.
Hold on. Order in the court, folks. This is a blessing and a curse. This is not just a curse, okay? We can use this to our advantage. Coach Marsh, what if he would have left the Super Bowl after the Patriots took the lead? What if we could use this to our advantage. Next time we are in a playoff game, Coach Marsh shows up, we struggle, he leaves, we win. Get
out of the building. You guys will see me there, like, get him out of the building.
No. Blowing up texts.
No, go back to the bathroom.
Yeah, when we're losing. Coach, stop watching.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I'll be getting pinged on the Discords and the Super Dolly. Get out of there.
PA system in the stadium.
Yeah, I couldn't believe
deep
it.
voice.
Man, I did not know that.
You know what? You're right, Squabble, because there was definitely a period of time, because we all think like stepping the wrong way is now the superstition that might I don't sit the perfect way, the Seahawks are going to lose today, right? Or if they won, it's because I did this or did that. Well, there was quite a few games afterwards where, I was like, well, gosh, should I leave? Should I not do this? Should I do that? Based on the back-to-back almost experiences within a year's time frame of that Sweet 16 and that Seahawks game.
I'll tell you, in the Rams game, I put on, like, at a point in the game, every single one of the jerseys I've ever had, because I'm like, if something good happened, okay, it stays. And then the second something bad happened, like the DJ Reed fumble off the punt return, it's like, okay, gotta go change into Russ or something.
Yeah, that'd be the best show you could do, Norb. Have people come on and talk about the craziest superstitions they do during. I mean, people do. We all do. I do it. We all do it.
Nick, I know. I remember during one of the games this year, we kept trying things. I think it might have been the Arizona game. I can't remember. But I remember taking my hat. I switched hats. I changed jerseys. I took my necklace off. I mean, none of it worked, though. We ended up losing. So it became a pointless exercise.
I remember commenting to your dad because he kept bringing up the little mini Norb guy.
Oh, yeah. That was his thing.
Wow, and also we're doing bad. Like, bring the little guy back and all these backup. Run the ball.
Run it. That's all. That's the key. Run it. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. We're in the home stretch here. Next, the YouTube scoreboard. Here we go. NORBFAM Nation, now old and strong, on fire. Give you up in second. Steph Curry up to third. John Rick 453 hanging out at fourth, and now Don't Trade Russ back into the mix at fifth place. But NORBFAM Nation on fire. But now we get to the gauntlet here in the double jeopardy section. Here we go. Number 10, worth double points. What quarterback did the Seahawks sign before the 2002 training camp, but retired just 6 days after the signing? Trent Dilfer, Mark Boelter, Ryan Leaf, or Seneca Wallace? What quarterback did the Seahawks sign before the 2002 training camp, but retired 6 days after the signing? Trent Dilfer, Mark Boelter, Ryan Leaf, or Seneca Wallace? For double points, time is up. Wow, I'm expecting people to get this answer, but I'm surprised there were that many wrong answers because all these guys played beyond 2002, with the exception of Ryan Leaf, who I believe went to a certain school, I think, that some of the guys here, some of the affiliated.
Of the Northwest.
I thought
Harvard of the Northwest.
Squabble called it the Stanford of the Northwest a couple shows ago.
It's Crimson. It's still Crimson.
Get your analogies correct. Get your references correct.
Yeah, right.
All right, so let's go to the panel. Double point time. Starting with Steezy. Going back in way back time, top of the decade there, 2002. Do you remember this one?
I don't, but I used your logic. You said that all these quarterbacks played after 2002, and so, Ryan Leaf, I know he flamed out in 1998 after he was drafted after Peyton Manning, and I don't remember him having much of a career after that. And so, in looking at all these guys, I was just like, I think Ryan Leaf retired before they all did. So I looked at Ryan Leaf and said, he's the one.
So Steezy gets a big 2-point score here early in the fourth quarter to add to his lead, but the rest of the pack chasing behind. Squabo, we're talking about the Harvard of the Northwest school you're attending. This is as close to home as it gets. What do you got?
And I would be darned if I were not to go with my cook. I went with Ryan Leaf. I didn't know, but I said if there is a guy that would sign with the hometown football team, even though his career has derailed and didn't make the team, Ryan Leaf is the guy. So I said Leaf.
Can a career derail if it never gets on the train track?
Well, he had one. I mean, did play? Was he with the Chargers? Was he with the Chargers initially?
Going into the NFL, he was on the train track.
His college career was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
But NFL, it was him and Peyton Manning. Everybody was, which one?
Wait, talk about the tale
it's hard
of
to
two
tell.
cities.
Their careers were pretty close, only not even close at all.
Wasn't Relief? Didn't he go to the Chargers?
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's crazy how that story went. But all right, so we are with Nick LeBeau.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't Dilford or Wallace, and Cameron's been this entire trivia leaning towards the majority of people that are names that people know. So I took Ryan Leaf.
All right. So a tight match stays tight. Coach Marsh needs to get this one to stay in the pack. Something tells me that he will know this one.
I mean, if we could go past PG, I'd have some serious Ryan Leaf stories to share. My tight end and special teams coach, the best coach probably I ever coached with, was on the same team with Ryan Leaf. And my brother, his roommates were the Jackson brothers, who were the starting receivers at DBs for the Cougars during that time. So, Ryan Leaf, definitely the answer, because just too much knowledge about a guy that I know too much about a guy that I shouldn't know about. Only based on stories that these guys have shared that are pretty classic.
Well, and that helped you jump back into second place.
A great institution.
Oh yeah.
Jumps back into second place with that correct answer. So Steezy and Nick tied at first with 8 points. Squabo and Coach Marsh with 7. Tight match. Let's see what the YouTube scoreboard has to say. Oh, big changes. Look at this. My gosh, never gonna give. But we got NORBFAM Nation. Never gonna in second and third. DSMJR88 messed up the flow. Otherwise, we'd have another never gonna give connected. But give drops to fourth. So we got never gonna give back onto the top 5. Who'd have thought that would happen?
It'd be really. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing if the game finished with never gonna give you up? That would be so.
That would be incredible.
That would be like witnessing, the most impossible odds of something happening.
Well, and it's going to come down to who's the most well-conditioned quiz person, because are we pushing like the 3-hour mark on this monster marathon? This is like a freaking.
We could watch Braveheart
telethon. I remember the Jerry Lewis telethon didn't go as long as this thing's going.
We're going to be up to Braveheart length in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Louise.
And by the end of this, LeBeau's going to be Martian's age.
And that gives me that much more respect to the people who are still watching this, that you guys actually find this show entertaining enough to stick around for this long a time.
Oh my God.
My hat's off to you guys.
It is incredible how many people I know in that chat that are on the East Coast still in this game. And over there, it's what, 8?
It's 11:15 in the East Coast. Yeah. So, these guys are dedicated, man.
I'd be curious if there's someone like in Europe right now. Because I know you have some Europe followers. And
it's just all about the trivia. They just want to see if Never Gonna Give You Up's going to win it.
They want, 5 minutes into the show, you got like people, when's the trivia? I know. Start the trivia already.
That's why I had to save it for the end, because if we did the trivia to start off with, the show would like plummet to 0 after the first 20 minutes of the show. The trivia's over. Like, I'm done. Bye. All right. So we put this to the end, so they have to stick around. All right, here we go. So here's the scoreboard. Let's see next question. Number 11, 2 more to go. Worth double?
Double.
Which Seahawks corner had the highest PFF grade, assuming for this season? Trey Flowers, Quentin Dunbar, Shaquill Griffin, or DJ Reed? Which Seahawks corner had the highest PFF grade? Trey Flowers, Quentin Dunbar, Shaquill Griffin, or DJ Reed? I think you have to pay to get access to PFF, right? So I don't know if you can just Google this information.
It depends.
Time is
there's certain things that they put up there.
Oh, YouTube's on all over this one. DJ Reed, we talked about him, had an impressive year. DJ Reed, 13 of you on YouTube got this one correct in a landslide question. So it was as obvious to our panel. Let's find out. Steezy.
I said DJ Reed just because I don't know how PFF's scale or like how they rate players go, but I was kind of thinking that because DJ Reed adds value as a kick returner and a punt returner, I was thinking that kind of gave him the edge, over Shaquill Griffin. So
do they factor that, or does it work as like just the cornerback position?
I think it's everything.
Oh, so it's totality. Everything. Oh, then definitely he gets a bonus there. He knocked off a couple points for fumbling the ball, though. He probably had a even higher score if not that doggone play, but oh well. Okay, so Steezy with a sizable lead in command right now, but Squabo trying to stay close. What say you?
And close he will stay. DJ Reed was the clear answer. He just played better by the eye test than the other guys, in my opinion, in terms of sticking with the fast guys from time to time. So I said DJ Reed. He made a lot of plays. He played the best at times, so I went with him.
And probably not only was his grade, but I bet if you go with it's probably an inverse relationship to how much the Seahawks had to give up to get him, right? Because they just picked him off waivers, right? So he's probably the cheapest guy in this group as well. Just to go show, it's not about what you pay for. You don't necessarily get what you pay for. Sometimes there are those diamonds in the rough, those secrets hiding in there that you hope to uncover, and he was one of them. Nick LeBeau, your answer.
Yeah, because I know PFF is based on everything. I'm like, oh, it's totally Reed or DJ Reed.
All right.
So I got it right.
Everyone's staying close. Coach Marsh, can you stay close too?
Yeah, well, no, because I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be the one honest guy here. Because when you have that much time, when 65% of the people can get it right, it's because you can type PFFCB really quick in a Google search. So when you can type 5 letters, so on these ones where we have to do a Google Analytics thing based on these questions in terms of if someone can Google it within 3 seconds, it can't be part of the question piece. Steezy I could see his hands go PFFCB like that really fast. That's why his guess was so fantastic. Who is this DJ Reed? I put Trey. I didn't,
yeah, but the thing with PFF that you have to pay to get the access. Well, unless I guess someone else.
There's certain things you can look at. Like I can go right now and do PFF, and I can find out who the top 25 people are right now without paying.
So, Coach Smart, are you seriously? You put Trey? You actually said Trey?
Yeah.
Really? I thought we all thought Trey Flowers sucked. I'm just.
No.
I don't even know. I didn't even know PFF to put Trey Flowers nowhere near the top of that list.
We're talking about one of these, ratings type of things. It's the same as when we're talking QBRs and all that other stuff. If you base things on QBRs, are you really going to determine who the best is? No, not even close. There's certain things that are just overrated. So I'm not saying PFF is an overrated thing.
I'm not even saying that. What good thing did Trey Flowers do?
It is.
I'd have to see the grade.
No, but
if you want to do a breakdown of it, just like tomorrow, you're going to see the breakdown of stuff. There's certain things you can analyze stuff and really come to all sorts of conclusions with certain players. You could have some real strong rationale behind Trey if you really look at DB stuff, which I love looking at DB and linebacker stuff.
We might need to do that on another episode. I know tomorrow we're going to talk more about Sherman and.
I'm not saying he's better than those other guys. I'm just saying based on what I thought PFF's grades overall would be, having not gone to it. Unlike 65% of the people like Steezy and those guys that went and let PFF speak. No, I'm kidding you. I don't know what they did.
Okay, well,
so it's the same group of people that had Matt Ryan as a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. So,
hey, but I think we look at 1 or 2 bad games that dudes have, and we put that into the realm of they're a bad overall player, right? Like an offensive lineman that gives up. I've said it before. Offensive lineman gives up a sack. Scrabble, you'd understand this. Scrabble could pancake a guy 12 times in a game. If he gives up 3 sacks at the center position, we need to get rid of him. He's awful. He sucks. He stinks. All right. But he could dominate.
Coach Marsh, in your defense, first of all, Trey Flowers definitely improved towards the latter half of the season. He got much, much better in his role. Second of all, PFF is ridiculous at times. They had us ranked as the worst defense in the NFL heading into last season. You guys remember that. And then third of all, they had Quentin Dunbar and Richard Sherman as the best corners heading into last year. So I can definitely understand where Coach Marsh is coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, Russell Wilson was like the worst quarterback in the NFL for one day against the Rams, but he's certainly in the top 5 to 10, overall, right? So you just got. I look at the totality. Anyway, we're pushing 4 hours here, and soon, so.
Well, the PFF did get it right about the Seahawks defense.
My AARP card expires at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
All right, let's do this before everybody falls asleep on us.
Bingo night.
All right, here we go. Scoreboard. Oh! Look at this! No way!
DSF 180.
No way!
This thing's gonna end.
DSNJR88's messing up the flow, but we got never gonna give you. This is incredible. And look at the spread. It's only 200 points, less than 300 points between top to bottom. And never gonna give you is 4 out of the 5. This is Insane.
You know what I like about this quiz, Norb, is that it's covered all. We've gone back to the early '80s. We've gone to current. Like I like the time frames of all this stuff. Like I hope more people do these quizzes. That's the best part of a good quiz is when you're covering all the different time frames and different stuff.
Now I'm trying to think. Is it the fact that there was so many bots and all this kind of stuff? I don't know how you how they do that with this stuff. Is it possible that this is all some calculated bot thing that's just manipulated this whole game?
I think not this. I think
the never going to give you up piece.
People.
Because those are five different people, right? You can't have one person being the same five people and trying to hit the same answer.
If you have 5 devices, I mean.
Oh yeah, someone could be running up around their. When Squabble said he had to go take a pee, he ran onto his 4 different devices trying to answer different questions to try to win this thing.
I mean, I would say this much: if somebody's hacking this to make this possible, I give you props for the fact that you have pulled this off and the effort you made to try to trick a NorbCam trivia for the sake of.
But that's a positive answer. That's a funny thing. Yeah,
that's a lot of work for a result that is
guy coming in.
Very amazingly surprising. Yet, and here we are looking at it where it almost has the perfect end to an improbable start. All right, so with that, we stand here with Steezy and Nick at 10. Squabble
Rob, are you
at
able
9.
to see who the top 10 is? Like, are you able to tell where everybody is in this ranking?
It only shows 5.
It only shows the top 5, and I don't know of any way to
see where Up is in the list.
No, they don't show.
Up's at 6.
Yeah, I don't have a.
Up 7 places. Oh, never mind.
Up.
No. Just go Hawks is up. But that doesn't mean he's in 7th place. It just says what's happening in the background. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's crazy.
Never going to give you Up right there if you kept that up on the screen.
Yeah, never gonna give you up 7 places. Okay,
never gonna just give you up.
All right, so let's go to the final question. Here we go.
Wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, it's only I'm trying to make it end at 3 hours, and I think I'm going to succeed. Here we go. Final question. Worth double points. Which Seahawks defender blitzed the most in 2020? Bobby Wagner, Ugo Amadi, Jamal Adams, or KJ Wright? Which Seahawks defender blitzed the most in 2020? Bobby Wagner, Ugo Amadi, Jamal Adams, or KJ Wright? Time is up. Look at this. People fell for the trap. Only 2 of you on YouTube guessed Bobby Wagner. 17 went for the Jamal Adams because they assumed that since Jamal Adams was the secondary sack leader, that he must have been blitzing the most. But according to Cameron Hughes, and I didn't fact check this, but I assume he's got his information right, it was Bobby Wagner in 2020. Threw this YouTube group for a loop. Well, let's see what did it do.
I'm actually glad I'm last, so I can go first to state this.
Yeah, that's right. I will go to Bill because he cannot win this game because of the math. So, Coach Marsh, we'll start with you.
Which I'm glad I get to open this one up, because if there was a defensive coordinator in the NFL that blitzed someone more than a linebacker, I would ask for them to please leave. Like I might write a letter like they did years ago. Like, can you please send this guy out the door? You have to be blitzing your linebackers more than anybody. If you're not, it's irrational.
So you got this one correct.
I did. So I can still finish in last place.
It's too bad that you just blew the PFF question, because you would have made this a very entertaining final fourth quarter. But as it stands, Coach Marsh lands at 9 points. So best he can do, I guess, right now is maybe not even second place, third place. I don't know. Not good compared to you.
Top 5.
But you're still in there, all within striking range, just one score short. Okay, so we will go to the next tension-building answer with Squabo with a chance to take the lead. Currently at 9 points to go double digits and a 1 point lead. But did he fall for the trap?
Well, it's desperation time, Norb. It's crunch time. And it's down the stretch. And I know not only is this the last question, right? So not only do I have to get it right, but they have to get it wrong. And so if they have to get it wrong, that means I have to go with a controversial answer that'll trick them. And I didn't know what the answer was, but I knew Jamal Adams was debate, so I went with Bobby Wagner because I needed them to get it wrong, and I had to get it right, so I went with Wags.
Woo!
But there's some sharks, so I don't even They probably still got it right. No one knew.
So Squabble
I got thrown off since that Ryan Leaf question. If you were to pull up a Ryan Leaf picture right now next to Squabs, like I seriously think they look close to, like they almost look alike.
Don't talk to me like that.
Oh man, so far it hasn't fooled the panel. It fooled everybody on YouTube, but the panel is doing 50-50 right now, or I think 50% got the answer correct. But now we get to the guys who can actually win the game with an answer that's correct here. So we go, well, should we? I guess we got to go with Steezy because he's always at the top. So Steezy with a chance to take the lead and be in position for the win. What does Steezy A. Smith say about
and beat
the
a
defender?
kid half his age? Go for it, Steezy. Do it.
The Seahawks defender who blitzed the most in 2020.
Of Ryan Leaf and Squab.
It's uncanny, isn't it? It's Ryan Leaf. Squabs is the mini Ryan Leaf.
We can't disrespect him like that. Ryan
I'm
Leaf.
kidding you, bro. I'm kidding you.
I know.
Hey, in college, he was a legend. He was a legend in college.
But what's it called? So with this question, I went with Jamal Adams. But then I remembered that he missed 4 games. But I remembered that after the buzzer sounded, so I got it wrong.
Oh, so Steezy had the lead the whole game practically. And the final double Jeopardy question did him in with Squabo currently at number 1, which leaves one more answer for the panel. We go to the youngest member of the panel, not even a regular on the show, been a guest the last 2 weeks. Nick LeBeau for a chance to be the winner of this week's trivia. What say you?
I knew it was between Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams. And I'm like, at first, Jamal Adams is easily the bait. But then I'm like, Cameron Hughes knows everyone's going to think Jamal's the bait. So he's going to pick Jamal. And I went Jamal. So GG Noah.
He jinxed himself out of the bait. He knew it was the bait and said, I'm not going to take the bait. Use reverse psychology to bit him.
Yes.
So Squabo, congratulations. Squabo is the winner
Second
by a
week in a
hair.
row.
From behind. He was behind
Squabo
most of the
League does it,
game.
man.
It comes back to win it with a final score of 11 points. Steezy and Nick in second, and Coach Marsh finishes with 9. Good finish there. Congratulations, Squabo. And you went with the had to go big. Knew you had to make the big play. Didn't want to go conservative. Wasn't going to just punt the ball. He decided, I'm going to go for the Hail Mary. Going to go for the deep ball, 4th and 10, and I'm not going to punt this ball. I'm going to take it and try to score, and he did. Congratulations, Squabo. Well played. Well played. All right.
Yeah, no, I feel like the Patriots in Super Bowl 49.
I don't like you anymore. You had to mention that. You had to. I was giving you all the props, and you had to bring that. You had to bring that analogy into this. That's got nothing to do with this. It's got nothing to do with
like
this.
Ryan Leaf.
Unless you
like Ryan Leaf. Now he's acting like Ryan Leaf. It's all man. I'm telling you.
Just like Ryan Leaf, I didn't expect to be a winner right now.
Yeah. I expect you to at least take your career at least a year past college, though. Like, at least be successful a year after college, man.
I guess
Which I know you will be for your whole career.
The only way the analogy, I guess, does kind of make sense is that if Steezy and Nick both had a chance to win the game, and it was the 4th quarter with 1 yard to go, a.k.a. one question to go, and they threw the interception instead of ran the ball, I guess that would be the equivalent, but I still don't like the analogy. Screw you, Squabo. Had to bring me back to that. Okay.
No, Nick is definitely a Russ, and Steezy's definitely Lockett. Because Steezy said if he had more time, he could have gave it more effort, kind of like Lockett on that play. And then Nick, he saw the right thing, but he made the wrong call. So he's Russ on that play.
And then
really, no, you know what it is?
Sitting in the backfield.
What it was Steezy ran out of time, and that's just typical clock management by the Seahawks at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
They wasted the timeout. They couldn't get the play in time. So that's really what it was. So that's more like the 49ers regular season finale in 2019. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. See how the sucker finished up. I don't think we're going to get the never going to give you up because that last question messed everybody up. Well, let's see.
4 people.
In 3rd place with 6 out of 12. Well, one of them made it. Second place with 6 out of 12 is never. In first place, is it gonna be that weird name? Oh, it's NORBFAM Nation with 9 out of 12. Is that Rishi? And then DSNJR88 and Give was in the runner-up. So we got Never Gonna. That's pretty good though. The Never Gonna got it.
Rishi won because I saw in the chat he was one of the 2 that got the Bobby Wagner one. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty solid. I mean, it took 6 out of 12. Like 6 out of 12 got you second place.
That's how tough this quiz.
That's how tough
this question was. This quiz was. That's pretty impressive. 9 out of 12. So Rishi was NORBFAM Nation. Is that what I'm going? Rishi, man, Rishi's always fastest Googler in the West.
It is.
Just kidding.
Wait, I think Golden Seahawk.
Oh, more breaking news from the barbershop.
I had 5 tabs and Rishi still beat me. I don't know if he's BSing, but I think he was the one that had 5 tabs for the Never Gonna Give You Up.
Golden Seahawk is never going to give up.
Wait, so Golden Seahawks did have 5 accounts going?
In theory.
That's what he said.
But in theory, all he has to do is beat Never. Because if you beat Never, the rest of them you're not going to do before Never. So if he beats Never, he beat the whole, the whole Never Gonna Give You Up. Because you're not going to go in and do the tabs in the wrong order.
Right.
If only.
Are we seriously doing a breakdown? Like, is there another channel I can go
Coach,
to where I can watch the telestrating breakdown of how someone gets into Kahoot? Like, let me write this down. So if I telestrate how to break down the Kahoot, people will watch and pay attention 4 freaking hours into the show. Okay, got it. Duly noted. That'll be Sundays at 6 a.m. on the Coach for Life.
Rishi has 7 Kahoot wins.
That's crazy. He's the TB12 of NORBCam Kahoots, man.
Yeah.
He's looking for the gold jacket.
I've never won
7 rings for Brady, 7 wins, 7 championships for Rishi. Crazy, man. So wait, I'm trying to understand. I'm still trying to understand this. Hold on. What you're saying is Golden Seahawks had 5 different accounts running at the same time?
That's what he said.
At least.
That's what they said.
How do you even do
theoretically,
that?
that could happen, but just because they claim it doesn't mean it's actually happening.
Yeah. You could have.
I don't know. I mean, Golden Seahawk, I believe not really the type to,
I mean, that's what I thought. I thought it was one guy doing it, and somehow, they're having all 5 run at the same time. But how do you even answer the questions simultaneously? I mean, I'm just trying to think through this whole thing. Like, I got on my computer, I have 5 different windows, and I have to click on all 5.
I bet if you probably see like a Spider-Man, like 5 different claw metal things, and he just pushes a button, they all just go, and then you hit the button. I mean, remember, we're dealing with kids, Norb. You and I are still thinking Kingdom Turf 1981. You got these kids that are creating discords and all these other, writing code and all this other stuff.
And I don't even know how they're making.
He had all of his screens like split, so you could have just gone click.
I suppose so.
I remember Bill Gates was starting Microsoft in his head when he was 15 years old.
Well, here's Rishi, the TB12 of NORBCam trivia. He with some behind the scenes give up the magician's tricks. He says you can just go Control Tab to switch from tab to tab and press the same answer each time and get them right. But you still got it. There's still delay to go from each button, so. There's still that little bit of time. Let's not give away
all these tricks though on the super chat, because then in all seriousness, like it'll ruin it for Norb if everybody finds out how to whatever if you're really wanting to win that bad or create those things. It's funny one time, but then the quiz will go away if everybody learns how to do these cheating things. Then it makes it not fun.
Well, then just like the whole thing being rated by all those bots. It's like I don't know how people do the bots thing, but it's like what does that accomplish? So you get 50 names of the same thing. Yeah, that's real funny. That's real entertaining. Benjamin Pulick says, "Whoa, I took a nap and Norb is still streaming. LOL." Yeah, you could have actually done more than a nap. The show has still been going on.
3rd episode of the night.
Sleep stream. All right. So that was fun. That was still pretty entertaining, though. Congratulations to Rishi for 7th win.
At 6 a.m. it'll still be going. You just
I just won't end the stream. I'm just gonna keep it going and see how long we can just keep the thing going for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
All right. So. Well, at this point, this is where I want to give my guests on the panel a chance to, again, talk about their channels and what they have going on this week. So let's do that right now. Let's start with Calvin Domingo, Steezy A. Smith.
At Norb Cam, at DJ Squabo, at Coach for Life, at Seattle Sports Talk, at Seahawks Martin. Be sure to subscribe to all those channels first before you're thinking about checking me out. And then once you do that, then you can find me at Steezy A. Smith, SteezyASmith. Like I said in the chat, just dropped a video a couple days ago talking about Russell Wilson and his end game in Seattle. If you guys haven't already, please be sure to go on over there and check it out if you have time. Follow me on Instagram. Once again, we're closing in on 1,000 followers on there. And I have a couple of baseball videos coming out for you guys, courtesy of my baseball guy, hopefully sometime in the next 3 to 4 days. So expect a whole lot of baseball. Expect another Seahawks video, or maybe another NFL video sometime this weekend. But that's it for me. Steezy out.
Hey, real quick, since you mentioned baseball, I just have an arbitrary question. When will the Mariners ever make it to a World Series? Will Coach Marsh and I be alive when that finally happens? When is it going to happen? I mean, we haven't been in the playoffs since what, 2001? It's been 20 years since they've been in the playoffs.
Our new hockey team will win a title before.
That doesn't answer the question. What's it going to take? How many years of this? It can't go on forever, right? It has to end, whether it's 1,000 years from now, 50 years from now, whatever. Unless the end of time happens before that happens. The Armageddon might happen before the Mariners win a World Series, or at least get to one. Would it happen? Will it happen, or be cursed for life?
When Nick LeBeau is your age.
Dude, that's a long time from now, man.
Like, think about that, Nick. For you to become Norman my age, we're talking decades. Like that's not like a few years away. Like, we're talking decades, man.
Well, I'm glad.
What that means is I'm not going to live. I will not live to see the Mariners win a World Series. I mean, unless I live to be like close to 100 years old. And that's the sheer reality
bless
of
you,
it.
Norb, I believe. And you still look the same too. And you.
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. That's very depressing about our baseball team.
Well, Norb, you did create that time traveling portal back in 2003.
I did.
With a highlight video that sent people through.
It worked great. It worked great in the video. We're just gonna make that translate into real life. All right. So nobody answered that question. Whatever it is, it's at least for another several decades. Is in other words what you're saying. That really sucks. Okay, let's go to Nick LeBeau. Tell everybody about your channel, where they can find you.
Yeah, first off.
I think Steve's got one thing. Steve looked like he jumped.
I'm so sorry, Norb. So sorry, everybody. But real quick, Cameron Hughes is 28 subs away from 1,000. So if you guys could please subscribe to Cameron Hughes. He's responsible for making all these trivias. So please, I just wanted to shout him out. Sorry about that. Sorry about the interruption, though.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good. But yeah, Cameron Hughes, I think a lot of it's because he posted the video of David Moore getting the toss, or the toss to give him the bonus in that final game. That was against the Niners, right? And he got a whole bunch. He got like several, like hundreds of thousands of views on that one, which I think resulted in a lot of those subs, right? So that's
And by the way, guys, to note, Cameron Hughes' channel is not Cameron Hughes. It is the Seahawks Network. So go sub that up. And yeah, my channel is Seattle Sports Talk. I would greatly appreciate if you'd subscribe. I got a couple video plans coming out for sometime in the future. Be sure to show love to Seahawks Martin. I know he couldn't make it. Coach for Life, where I'm on the panel, as long as I'm in good terms with Coach. Steezy A. Smith and DJ Squabo, they all work so hard. And also, you're already here, so don't forget to subscribe to NorbCam. He works so hard to make all this happen. And while you guys are in the chat beforehand complaining why it's not starting on time, what you guys don't see, because you aren't in the Skype call, is him like working super hard, just doing all this OBS stuff and stuff I wouldn't even know how to do.
And to be clear, though, that's the letters O and B and S that are part of the broadcasting system. That's not Norb going, oh, BS. Oh, it's just the form or BS.
Yeah, that's a good thing to point out, too.
To anybody who's done OBS and live shows, you guys all know how challenging it is to get all this stuff working correctly. And obviously, I still had bugs. I couldn't get the Discord audio working. I never did get the audio working off of the trivia, so I think it's all missing all that dramatic music, but that's okay. We had our own drama going on, but it's
get Norb to 50K.
Yeah, I'm inching my way. The subs have been low lately. I don't know why. It's kind of plateaued. So yeah, if you guys haven't subbed me up, I'd appreciate it too. But yes, definitely give some subscribing love to these guys in their social media channels. Squabo,
the season is over. I mean,
yeah, still we're not done. Squabo, you're up.
Excellent point. Definitely show some love to Norb. Get him to 50K. Get Steezy to 2K. Get Coach Marsh to 1K. Get Nick LeBeau to 1K. And then get me to 700. That's the goal. One sub at a time. Every subscriber counts. The next video that I'm going to be dropping on my channel, I believe 99% is going to be about what Seattle needs to do in free agency moving forward this offseason, how we can fix this lineup. And I'm telling you, the first position on the offensive line that needs to get fixed is not left guard. It's center.
Yep.
Very well
One
put.
center,
Very
which
well
we
put.
didn't talk about today, is expected to hit free agency.
Corey Linsley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have more to talk about next week.
Let's just start talking about it now.
If we say it
'cause
too
we're only in
loud,
the fifth hour. Let's just start talking about it.
Well, we hit 3. Oh, we're
Let's just start
3
next
hours
week's
13.
show right
We're
now.
officially longer than
might as well,
Braveheart.
'cause
We're
almost
officially
2
longer than the movie
hours already.
Braveheart and a bunch of other movies.
Count now to Sportsnerd's birthday next Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it is.
Let's do something special for that.
Yeah.
All right. Coach Marsh, last but not least.
Yeah,
Tell everybody about your stuff.
What I think is really cool is when you look at the other guys on the panel here and stuff. If you watch back on other videos, just to watch the evolution of the backgrounds and Steezy got his cool logos that's going on, Squabble's got his background thing going, and Nick LeBeau just every time I watch you, I see you just growing. In terms of like literally you're growing too probably, but in terms of growing with the channel and stuff. It's just really, really cool. And it's all, and I know we constantly bring the praise out to Norb, but it is because of one guy, right? He's the guy who's constantly, I think we want to get better because of what Norb brings. So even though we talked earlier about how it's the younger generation, it is always neat to have people that you aspire to be like. And I would say that everybody on this panel, including myself, aspires to be like Norb. And that's when they talk about YouTubers and influencers and all those others, like, he's an influencer. He's influencing in a very genuine way. So that's why it's hard for me to jump on the Coach for Life and those things. Like, if you're going to jump on it, great. I hope you do. And if you don't, okay, great. I'm just going to keep having fun. And I'm doing it with a younger crew right now, which I'm having a blast doing. But to me, I want you really to support these other guys, and mine will happen grassroots naturally as it goes. But I'm proud of being a part of this with you, Norb. I'm proud of being with you guys and just watching the evolution of what you're doing, because you're inspiring me every single day. As my wife will tell you, like every day I'm trying to figure out new ways to make this thing better so that I represent you guys well. So I just appreciate you letting me be a part of it. And like I always say, let's just live life one play at a time.
Well put. All right. Well, that wraps up the show. So, but the 3-hour viewing experience doesn't have to end right there, because you can click on the screen here, and there's some other screens that will take you to something even more magical and exciting. So don't go anywhere. Just move to another place.
Might as well stay up
Move to
till
another
midnight
place.
watching Norb.
Keep watching. Keep watching. We appreciate you guys.
Rewatch this one again too. The whole thing.
That's right. I mean, why stop there? Just watch the whole epic 3-hour, 15-minute adventure one more time.
Win every Kahoot.
All right. Thanks a lot, you guys.
None of us had facial hair.
All right. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who contributed to the super chat. I appreciate your guys' support. Every bit counts. And to Cameron Hughes for sending in the trivia. If you guys have your own idea for trivia, feel free to do so. You can do that in Kahoot at NorbCam 12. That's my name in Kahoot. If you want to send me one, just like he's been sending, and I will use it on a future show. All right. Thank you guys. Catch y'all later. Go Hawks.